Bobby Lee. Nice.
Good gosh, y'all. All right. Happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday once again. This is Halenville Live. It's 9:06 p.m. Wednesday, July the 13th, 2022. Fruitcake Tony alongside Neil Daly, John Conklin, Bent Tom in the house. How you doing, fellas? Nice to see you. We got an exciting night here tonight. Ooh, Lord have mercy.
Good to see everybody. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, it is very nice to see you guys.
It's funny, like, let me just start off saying one thing real quick. You know, like as a guitar gear junkie, you learn stuff and you go, I thought I knew a lot about, like, for example, this week the lesson for me was 60s and 70s Celestion speakers. I thought I knew quite a fair bit about them. Man, there's a whole nother nerd level, like not even pre-Rolla versus Rolla Ipswich. Like, I mean, different cone numbers that people prefer. Like, it just gets way crazy.
That's the crazy thing about this show, man. I love the guests we have on the show because, you know, just when you think you've got everything down, nope.
Yep.
Nope, there's somebody else.
Flips it on its head. So I didn't want to go into detail, but just that thought that, like, man, it really, man, I got schooled.
Yeah.
Why is this price and this one's double? Well, they sound identical, but it's the equivalent of a repainted guitar. It's like, well, it's worth half. And I'm like, well, give me the one that's worth half because it sounds the same. You know, so, but I ended up scoring. I got two quads, as Haas would say in Australia. They call them quad boxes, I guess. But two quads worth of 70s. I mean, they're like greenbacks, but I got blackbacks and graybacks. So the graybacks were really rare. But I'm learning more like what companies, and I'll tell you guys off the air, but I don't want to ruin the thing. Sorry, everyone else. But like, I'll tell you what companies I found that some of them used the Celestions back then, and people either don't know they're inside or don't care, and you can buy them on the dirt cheap. But I found two in the last week and scooped them up, and
that's awesome.
You know, so I want to have a double full stack of you know, I actually prefer the old blackbacks to the greenbacks, you know, which is a G12H instead of a G12M, and then they have a 55 and a 75 hertz. So I prefer the bass hertz.
Have you started taking them apart yet?
No. Well, that's the big thing too, is you get people that they might know a lot about Tellys and Strats and 59 Les Pauls, and they think they know a lot about Marshalls, but they know zero about actually speakers. They just know that a 412 goes with a head, but they wouldn't even know the difference between like metal handles or plastic handle period, or a 1982 A and B versus a 1960 versus man, there's like probably 15 different numbers, and then you know you have like the, you know, the 8x10 cabinet, the 4x15, the 4x12 open back PA speakers, all this crazy stuff I never knew even existed cabinet wise, except for, you know, I mean, when we were kids, there's no internet to learn all this, so my buddy had an old 73, 74, somewhere mid 70s, 8x10 with original selections and one blue, so he had to put a new one in. But all the, the grill was pretty much all, or the Tolex was pretty much all off. It was like down to the wood, but it still had that checkered 8x10 grill, And man, that thing sounded great. He just had a VTM PV cheap head going in, but that big Marshall 810, that was the sound, man.
You know what's really funny? I feel like kids today are, and there's no knock against this, but I think kids today are learning about amps from the plugins attachments to their like digital audio workstations and stuff. You know, with all their Pro Tools and all their like Guitar Rig 6 and stuff like that. That's how everybody's learning about amps.
I'm torn because in most other areas of my life, as you can see my room in here, I don't put a lot of weight to people's physical appearance, their monetary status, or that kind of stuff. Like if I'm gonna date a woman because she's attractive, it's gonna be very short-lived because I get bored very quick. And the same thing with with material objects, I'm the same way. And it's tough because with guitars, I'm like, but wait, I might want to play that in 6 months, even though I'm not playing it now, and I'll want it back and I won't be able to get it. But then in the rest of my life, I'm a total minimalist. Like I don't even own a dresser. I keep my clothes literally in, if they're not my work clothes or dress clothes, and hang up, suits and stuff in the closet, which I don't wear a lot of suits. But I just keep my underwear, socks, shirts, and I'm a t-shirt and jean kind of guy, and I keep them under the bed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as shows by my facial hair, it's always all about low maintenance. So it's this weird dichotomy where it's like I can't get rid of any of this guitar stuff, but in other parts of my life, I'm like, just throw it out, just get rid of it. I don't need it. Throw it out, get it away. It's clutter. You
should have been in a grunge band in the 90s.
Yeah, right.
One flannel shirt, one pair of jeans, and you're rock and roll.
Am I clothed so I'm not going to be arrested, and am I warm enough or not too hot? Then the clothes are fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just find it interesting. It's like, how can one person be that opposed to material stuff, but then when it comes to guitar stuff, it's like there's this exception. It's the guy or the woman or the man whose kid, and their mom is the CEO of the company. Yeah, they can do whatever they want. Well, it's like in that one area, it's like, well, we can get 3 cabinets instead of 1, but in any other area of my life, I would never do that.
It's funny. It comes back to haunt you in certain ways too, because I had this conversation with Alexia, maybe like, I don't know, a couple Christmases ago, where I asked her, and God forgive me, I know this is the taboo question. You never ask a girl this, but why do you have so many pairs of shoes? That kind of thing. Like, I don't understand how you can have 12 different pairs of shoes. And she was like, okay, you know what? That makes sense. Let's start getting rid of some of your guitars. And I was like,
that's a good point.
Now I get it.
Choose your words.
Yep. I was like, now I get it. Okay, my bad. Boom. I shut the hell up.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And we all, so they don't mind and we don't mind.
Yep. I know my place now. You stay in your lane, I'll stay in mine.
Yeah. Guys, let's turn the corner. We got a special guest waiting in the green room. A hell of a guitar player. Oh my God. But first of all, let's recognize the fine folks here in the chat. And I'm going to scroll upward, and we're going to start at the bottom. Thomas Santiago, welcome, sir. Nice to see you. Ty Price, nice to see you, Ty.
Hey, Ty, what's going on, man?
We'll see Ty Saturday here on the channel. Ty will be on board for Show Me Your Pick Velvet Revolver. So we get to see Ty Saturday. Welcome, Ty. Nice to see you, sir. Dwight Bailey, the Hitman, is here. Right on. Guitar Man 45. Christopher Live Sour. Nice to see you. Dan of New Jersey. Right there. Let's scroll up. Here we go. John Conklin's in. Keith Campbell.
Hey, Keith.
is there. Let's see. Simon Haas is in the house.
Hey, Simon.
What's up, Haas?
Yeah, let's
My brother from down under.
Let's see. Holly Lewis. There she is. Nice to see you, ma'am.
Hey,
And
Holly.
Andrew is in the house. The 5150 show.
Look at
Hey,
that beard.
what's up, Andrew?
Nice
man.
to see you, Andrew. We'll talk about Andrew, the 5150 show.
Remind me to tell you, I never
yeah.
told you what happened with my beard. It wasn't my decision.
Andy Carson, nice to see you, sir. Ryan Hall.
Hey, Andy. Hey, Ryan.
And we're to Papa Blue. Nice to see you, dude. Not
Awesome.
leaving you out. Still scrolling. Tim Thomas in the house. I'm trying to highlight these names tonight. Yeah. And if I missed anyone or you're just rolling in, say hello in the chat. We're going to also say hello to Charles Green in the house.
Hey, man.
How's it going, you guys?
There he is.
Sorry I'm late, but when duty calls, guys.
You're just in time, Charles.
I just made it. My goodness.
Nice to see you. So,
Nice to
dude,
see you.
we're gonna not waste another minute, and we're gonna bring in our special guest for tonight. All right. So a lot of you know who this is, and if you don't, Joshua Jones links, his YouTube channel links are down below. Yeah, he is a hell of a player. Let's get him in here. There he is. Josh Jones in the house. What's up, dude?
Josh?
What's up, buddy?
Right on.
How you guys doing?
Good,
Awesome,
bro.
man. Awesome.
How you doing, dude?
I'm doing all right. According to you guys, a lot of you guys just got off of work, and so did I. So trying to unwind a little bit. You know.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Right on.
Halenville's the
life,
perfect way to
Josh.
do it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
It really is. Especially this background. This background is badass.
Yeah.
All right. Josh, how's things been going, man? We're all huge fans of your playing, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are a hell of a player, man.
Josh,
Understood.
we gotta get you one of these, Josh.
I'll wear it. I love
There you
white
go.
shirts. I'm wearing a plain one right now. It needs to say Halenville on it.
There
It
you
does.
go.
It totally
Make that
does.
happen.
Yeah,
We gotta make that happen, Tony.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yep. And if
We
the
can
show
do
goes
that.
really well, Tony will sign it for you.
Hello
Yeah,
from
let me know
Tulsa.
if you don't have any left, Tony. If you need to get some more made, I'll throw in so we can get some more made. That way we can give some away to our guests.
Excellent.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
down with
You're
I'm down with
you're getting the next batch then. Is that what you said?
that.
I'll get the next batch. I mean, you put. I know it wasn't cheap, man. You bought a bunch. You bought them for a bunch of people. It was very generous. So
Yeah.
I definitely have no problem getting the next batch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You rock,
no
Tony.
worry.
You rock, bro.
As long as it's not
Josh!
like Gucci price is like $200 a t-shirt. I'm good.
Yeah, no. Certainly not. You know me. But yeah, that merch will be out. Josh, dude, I'm gonna start off by asking, how old are you, bro?
I'm too old now, man. I'm 26.
You're 26, and how long have you been playing guitar?
You're laughing like, man, I remember when I was 26.
Yeah, you're so over the hill, man.
I'm just done, man.
Yeah.
I started playing when I was 13. So it's been 13 years now.
So half
I
your
was,
life.
I was gonna guess
My
more.
life.
But
Yeah.
Josh, can you hit on one thing really quick? And I don't want to interrupt, but it's very important.
Yeah.
I don't know if some people or if 100% of the people in the audience, in the chat know how much you play. Like, how many hours a day do you think you have a guitar in your hand? Because sometimes I know during the pandemic, especially, you'd be streaming for like 10 hours and 9.5 of it was guitar playing. And 30 minutes like spread up in like 2 or 3 minute chunks was not playing.
Yeah.
Like the endurance alone is insane.
That's a good question because I don't really count the hours because I lose track of the hours, but I mean, like I try to get at the bare minimum at least an hour a day, depending on how much stuff I have going on. I think there's a difference between writing and practicing, and I've been focusing a lot more on writing more than practicing here lately. But if we're basically talking about my my practice routine for the past 12 years, I would say every other day is a solid 4 hours just because of work and stuff like that. But I always try to get as many hours as possible until my hands start to hurt, which is, that leads to another point. So I mainly play on this white Schecter. It's the same exact thing as this. It's just white. And the white Schecter has 10s and it's in E flat. And if my hands start to get tired, then I play this, and this is 10s in D standard, so it's a little easier to play. So I always make sure I have guitars that are playable whenever my hands start to get fatigued.
So your Schecter is your number one, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I mainly only play the two Schecters, man. This one and then the other one, the white one, the two Hellraisers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm kind of like Tom. I'm a minimalist. I don't really I've never really felt the need to have a lot of guitars. I mainly just need like one or two. I think right now I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 7, but I only play on 2 of them pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know I'm up to 8, and I want to get down to like 4 or 3 even,
See, I feel like there's no in between. I feel like guitar players either
one
like
or
2 or 3, or they have like 20 to 30.
I had a good friend in college that
Dax, welcome.
went through, got a degree in jazz guitar, playing an 80s Japanese Ibanez copy of a
Brett Zeppelin,
Stratocaster.
welcome, dude.
And the only reason he went and then got a nice guitar after, years of playing, 12 years, 15 years of playing or whatever, is because he had the money and he had to get something new because it got stolen at a gig. He opened up down in Miami. Do you know a band called the Aquabats?
I don't think I've ever heard of them.
Okay, so they're kind of like that LA, like it mixes funk with ska and all kinds of stuff, crazy music like that. Well, they were opening for De La Soul at the university there. Well, they got to open for the Aquabats as the opener. So when they were leaving, someone stole his guitar. Otherwise, he'd probably be playing the same guitar that day. Well, he went that day. He ordered a James Tyler guitar, which even back in 1996 or whatever it was still, I think, like $3,200 back then. He has that same guitar today, and he pretty much just always plays that one guitar, and that's it. He's a professional guitar player. He's toured with people, and he'll borrow guitars for tours if they need a certain thing, or if it's slide guitar or whatever it is. But his main thing, I think he has an acoustic, a bass, and one other backup electric, which is like a Fender, which when he bought it was a $500 or $600 Mexican Fender.
I mean, it
really is this, right?
Well, I mean, it's that, and it's also the setup. The setup on a guitar to me is worth more than the guitar itself. As long as if you don't know how to set it up, it should be taken to a tech who knows how to set it up properly.
Yep.
I mean, 4 years, into my playing, I didn't even know what a bridge pickup was. I just concentrated on playing. And I met this tech at Guitar Center. He loved Kiss and Van Halen, so we got along. And I told him I had an issue with my guitar at the time, and he told me to bring it in, and I brought it in. He's like, "Yeah, man, it's your bridge pickup. It's the pot that's your volume pot for your bridge pickup." And I'm like, "Dude, I have no idea what you're talking about right now." And he was like, "I don't know how you can play like you can play." And I'm still pretty ignorant to a lot of gear. I've tried to get myself more involved with knowing more about gear, but there's still a lot of things that I mean, dude, what you guys were talking about before, with speaker cabinets. I mean, that stuff is like way over my head. I know a little bit, but I don't know, anywhere near as much as probably some of these guys do.
Which Schecter have you got in your lap there, Josh?
This is a Black Hellraiser. It's just a C1. Yeah.
Right on.
It's beautiful.
And
Yeah.
it's plugged in
Is it
too.
stock?
Yeah, it's stock. I'm trying to remember if I did. So the only thing I do to these guitars, like any guitars or Floyd's, I think this is a 1000 series. Anytime I get one of these, I always block it. So like with this one, I use a trim stop, and the white one, our bassist is pretty nifty, so he was able to get like a little wood block, like a little block of wood, and then he blocked the bridge that way, so you can only go down,
Right.
you can't go up,
Sure.
which makes it stay in tune way better, and then I can do double stops in tune and all that. So I prefer to have blocked Floyds, and I mean, if you break a string when you're playing live, which happens often, you don't really have to worry about the entire guitar going out of tune. You can still finish the song.
Yep.
So besides that, there's no mods. I mean, I know eventually this will. It happened with the white guitar, Sustainiacs. This right here is just a piece of plastic. So Sustainiacs are single coil pickups.
Right.
And this is just a little piece of plastic. And with the white one, because I pick like right here, so eventually this will break in half, and then it'll need to be glued with like red glue back on, and probably clamped for a day whenever it breaks off. But other than that, it's pretty much stock. The pickups are just EMGs. I think it's EMG 81 TW, and then a Sustainiac.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
A lot of people made a career on an EMG 81. Very wealthy people like Metallica, big time. I mean, that's
Zach Wild.
Yeah, there you go. That was my favorite one. I love the EMG 81 Zach Wild playing clean country stuff because it's so hi-fi sounding. It sounds great. It's like you don't need a compressor because the active pickup does it for you.
Yeah, I have his set of pickups in another Schecter that's at the other guitar player's house right now, and I mean his signature set's really great too. I mean, I've only played a few pickups in my life, to be honest. I haven't really ventured out too much. But besides EMGs, I mean, the passive EMGs sound really great too. I remember I was at this dude's house, and he had like an Alexi Leho passive EMG pickup, and that thing blew my mind. And then, I think as far as passive pickups besides EMG, I know I don't like the super distortion. I was playing this dude's guitar one time through my boogie, and he told me it was a super distortion running through it, and I just didn't like the sound of that. But whatever they throw in the gems in the Steve Vai guitars, I like those. And unless it was some modded one, if it's the same thing, I don't know if it's a super distortion or not. But those ones. But my favorite passive pickups are definitely the pickups they throw inside of Gibsons.
So the most popular one for the gems that has lasted time, at least not my opinion, but several different people that are into them that sound like what you're talking about are the Breed pickups, which is like a PAF Pro, which they used to put in the old gems, but it's a little bit hotter. So if you like that kind of Gibson humbucker PAF first fucker, kind of like 8 to 10 or 7 to 10K range, depending if you like it really underwound, overwound, or kind of in the middle, then you would probably. I have a couple pickups. You'll have to talk about it off the air. I can send you a couple if you. I mean, I've just got pickups sitting in piles. I can send you a couple if you want to try them out. But you might like some of those. I mean, they're different. You're gonna make it sound like you, but the response is what will be drastically different in some of them.
Yeah. The main two pickups that I remember that are passive that I wanted, like we were opening up for this like 80s cover band that's in our city, and we were doing a casino gig, and this dude always has like the nicest gear, and he was like, "Hey man, you want to play my guitar?" And it was like I think it was a Les Paul Standard. It was like a 2016. and that had a Burstbucker Pro, and that thing blew my mind. I was like, man, that sounds incredible. And then there was another show where he came by, and he had a Gibson Explorer, and that had a Dirty Fingers Plus pickup in the bridge, and that thing, I mean, like through the Mesa, that thing sounded like Van Halen, and I was just kind of mind blown by that. I was like, man, this pickup sounds really, really great. And you know, when I went to NAMM, I ended up meeting the CEO for Gibson, and I told him, I was like, man, you know, I really wanted to purchase a Dirty Fingers Plus pickup, but you know, I see the problem here is that I can't go on your website and purchase this pickup. I have to buy the whole guitar, and I don't want the guitar, I want the pickup. And they ended up sending me one, and it's in my Charvel right now. But it's so weird, man, because it just doesn't sound the same in the Charvel versus the Explorer. It sounded better in the Explorer than it does in the Charvel. Yeah. Dirty Fingers through Mesa, Sykes.
Wow.
85 SA. What's an SA?
The single coil.
Oh, okay.
So an SA and then A5 in combination, like single hum and bridge, is kind of the Steve Lukather, like Toto set.
Oh, okay.
A lot of other people used it too, but
yeah. I had to be careful with those. I got to be careful with single coils in the middle if it's like an HSS configuration, because I pick right in the middle. So that middle pickup will forever get in my way. I've never really played guitars with middle pickups. It's always been just two humbuckers. So if I ever play one, I get a screwdriver and I just lower it. I just lower it all the way down.
There's a really good wiring setup you might like that you can do on a regular 5-way with two humbuckers, where you get a bunch of single coil positions, and it only has one push-pull, so there's nothing that looks different on the guitar. Let me show you real quick. It'll make more sense.
Let me tell you, as a builder, man, if you're happy with the pickup selections you have in your guitars, stay there, because once you start descending into the madness of
rabbit
pickup
hole
selection, oh my God, you'll spiral, dude. You will totally spiral.
I can't take credit for this. This is if you know the guitar player Pete Thorne, this is the way his guitar is set up.
Pete's incredible. Yeah.
So if you go the whole way up, it automatically splits this, and it's a single coil, but the coils are mismatched. One is close to 5K, 5.5, and one is close to 3 or 3.5K. So it keeps the coil that's close, like 5.5, 5.6. So it's very close to the output of a vintage Fender neck pickup, and it's this one. So it's in the right spot too. So it sounds a lot like a normal Strat pickup. If you go one back, it's both of these together like a Les Paul. If you go in the middle, it's both of these together, but they're both cut. They're both split. And if you go one from the end there, it's this one split with that one, you know, the humbucker. And then you can go to the bridge, and it's just the bridge pickup. But if you lift this, it makes the bridge a single coil. It puts it actually in parallel, not in series. And you can use that with anything in any position.
That's a hell of a lot of tones.
Yeah. And the wiring's not that difficult. It's just, it uses some interesting tricks, but, you know.
It's like riding a 10-speed bike, how you got five gears on one, and then you flip the chain and there's 5 more.
But you know what's interesting is you would think it looks like really complicated when it's explained, but your hand learns the muscle memory in about a week.
Yeah.
And then you figure out, oh, this, when I go like with the hand, like when I move it like this, I know that movement gets me this sound. You're not going, I bring my volume to 7, I go up to the neck, I roll the tone, you know, to like 9. You're not, you know, if you watch any players that roll their volumes and tones a lot, and like Philip Sace is my favorite live guitar player now for doing that, just guitar volume and tone all night and adjusting that, and then, you know, being on the right pickup, having the right clarity and the right cut for each phrase that you're playing. And getting back to Eddie, because we're on the Halenville show now, That's what I noticed in Eddie. He, even with the same pickup, he would, change the volume or change his physical attack, phrase to phrase, and that makes your stuff jump out like it's three-dimensional versus if you're just playing legato lines, man, you sound two-dimensional,
Yeah, I mean, in the bedroom, I'm pretty much just wanking all the time and just trying to get all I can out. But whenever
you're talking about guitar playing right now, right?
I'm talking about guitar playing. Yeah, I turn into a wanker when I start playing guitar in the room.
That's later, Neil.
But whenever I'm on stage, it like the discipline just kicks in, and I don't really pay attention to stuff like that too often. I'm sure I'm just assuming here that all you guys have probably played live before. And I mean, if you've played live, that the moment that first chord hits, like all the dialing in of your tone and your sound just goes right out the window. Yeah. I mean, because the most important thing is just playing the right notes, and then you got to sing the backups, and and then it's every single show something's gonna fuck up. Whether it's a wireless unit, whether a tube blows, whether a fuse goes out, or a bad cable. It's always something every single show.
I've played shows where I've completely forgotten to even touch my volume and tone knob the entire show. Once I'm on my setting for the first song, that's where I'm at the rest of the show.
That's pretty much how I am. I mean, unless I can't hear myself, but I mean, we use in-ears, so it's a different world using in-ears, even in dive bars. I mean, man, there's a difference between wedges and then amp volume and then in-ears. If you don't get any effects in those ears, it's the most uninspiring thing I can ever think of. Sure. But if your in-ears are dialed in properly, to me, it's the cleanest mix you can possibly want live.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, plus, when you're playing dive bars, you're at the mercy of their PA system too. A lot of the times, I'm sure you've had shows where there was no PA guy. And
our band, our bass player owns the PA system in the light show, so we set it all up, and then he hires us. Like, we use the same sound guy, and that sound guy tours professionally, and whenever he's at home, he runs our mix. But I have had those situations happen in the other band I was in, where we would have like a sound guy booked like 3 months in advance, and then a week before the show, they'd be like, "Hey man, I'm gonna go take this better paying gig." Morally, I don't think that's right, but it's what they would do. And then the guitar player for that band would have to book a sound guy within a week. You would have to find somebody, and just hope to God that it's gonna sound good.
Yeah. Or worst case scenario, you have a sound guy that's there, dials you in for the first song, and then steps out to smoke cigarettes all night while you're playing, and you're looking around going, "Hey man, I need you to make an adjustment here."
Yeah. I mean, man, a sound guy can really make or break the band. I mean, it doesn't matter how good you are, man. If your sound guy doesn't know what he's doing, I mean, I remember a specific gig, we had this sound dude just like he was pulling cables out. Yeah. And I was like, what's going on? And he started pulling these cables out the back, and I was like, what is he doing? And then before I know it, the kick drum just disappears, and I'm like, oh no. And like that night, like that was the same night, like whenever I was playing Eruption, my bar broke, like right here, it snapped. And
wow.
The bassist and the guitar player, their wireless units went out that night. It was, and on top of the sound guy just unplugging all these XLR cables. I'm like, oh no.
Wow.
I've had a sound guy fuck up an acoustic show before, so that's like, come on, dude.
It's good though. It's good to be thrown to the wolves like that and learn. Learn how to perform in dive bars, because once you get in the upper echelon of shows, I think it gets easier, man. I mean, all the shows that I played in the dive bars have always been more difficult, and you have to work harder in the dive bars
Yep.
versus playing a festival or something where you just get to walk up and plug in and play. That's luxury.
Well, you were telling me a couple days ago, Josh, all the stuff you guys do, you haul that stuff in, but there's lights that you haul in too.
Yeah, it's a whole light show.
That's an awful lot of work, bro.
Yep. Yeah. It's worth it though because it looks good.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference between, showing up and playing and then showing up and bringing a show along with your band.
That's
I don't think
that sounds so much like Van Halen.
Yeah, there's so Van Halen.
It's very much Van Halen.
I don't
Very
think
much.
I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. I mean, in the other band I was in, we used to do that. Like we used to just show up and play, and it was fun. But it never looked as good as this band as far as the light show is concerned. But you got to be careful because too much is too much as well. You can add too much lights to the show, and then you're just blinding people.
Yeah.
Guys and girls. So news bulletin. We are going to turn the corner here because if you remember, I said something in the show card about a special surprise guest. Okay. All right. So we have a special surprise guest. He doesn't have long with us, but we are fortunate that he is here. Do you guys remember us talking about the Rolling Stone article last week here on Halenville Live? Well,
it's a really good article.
It is a really good article. So we have Blair Fischer here in the green room backstage. John, you want to introduce him, brother?
You're muted, John.
You're muted.
Yeah,
All
if you want to bring him in, he doesn't have much time left, so. Is he still there?
It's all you, yeah.
Yeah, can you bring him in?
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Blair Fischer. There he is.
Hey guys, how you doing?
My
Hey,
goodness.
Blair.
It is a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Yeah, so
Hey, nice to see everybody.
Thanks for being here. Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my goodness. The whole world has read this article.
The whole world. I wish that was great.
The whole Van Halen world.
The whole Van Halen world has Blair.
Okay, that's all that matters, right?
Yep.
Yeah, my
Yes.
goodness.
100%.
Where do we start? So
That's good.
where does this start, Blair?
You read the story. You know exactly where it started.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
my goodness. Wait, how many emails did it take you before you were sure it was Eddie?
I mean, I honestly, I probably wasn't 100% sure until like right before until they brought me backstage at the concert. But yeah, I was like it says in the story, there was an article in Billboard magazine, and came out like maybe a few weeks after I started talking to him, written by Chuck Klosterman, and and I remember reading it because Eddie, as you know, didn't do a lot of interviews, or he would only do interviews with about like golf gear or or guitar gear and stuff like that, and so I read the article, and then just he was saying a lot of really a lot of controversial stuff at the time, stuff that was pretty tame compared to the stuff he told me. But he mentioned the thing about David Lee Roth. He said that there's like 3 guys in the band that are into rock and 1 guy's into dance music or something like that. And as soon as you said dance music, I went back and read all my emails, and he had said the same thing to me like weeks earlier. I never heard Eddie Van Halen say that before. anything about like David Lee Roth liking dance music. And it was so specific that I was like, okay, it's got to be him now. There's just no way it's not him. So that was really that was like when I was about 95% sure. And then like leading up to when I first met him, when I got to Will Call, they didn't have backstage passes. They had like a media pass, which I actually have it right here. This is the media pass.
Man.
for the
That's
show.
awesome.
Yeah. But that doesn't really do much. It doesn't get you backstage. So I was like texting him before the show. Like I'm texting Eddie Van Halen before the show, like what the hell's going on and all this. And I had his wife's phone number too, and I'm calling, and eventually somebody came back and brought me in, and then I was like, okay, now that I'm backstage, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be I'm pretty sure it's him now. So yeah, that was it was a pretty surreal moment.
Wow.
My goodness.
Yeah.
My goodness. Blair, it is one of the best reads I've had in a very long time. It's
thank you.
We get a lot. We've been very blessed and fortunate to have some wonderful EVH, in the last year or so. We've a lot of books and things, but I'm just going to tell you straight up, your story is not only short and sweet, but it is just, my God, man, you're 1 in a million, bro. You are 1 in a million. And
I appreciate that.
as I was reading it, I'm thinking, I'm putting myself in your shoes. God, man,
Yeah,
I'm
we
so
all kind
impressed.
of lived vicariously through you.
Yeah, absolutely. And
5 year.
I gotta give a shout out to the Rolling Stone. Wow, what a read, what a story.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah.
It's just, and it's so timely right now. The fact that we've lost Eddie, it's still recent. It's still recent, and the fact this story came out so short afterwards, it's just such a pure, true story, and it's just outstanding. And we thank you so much for coming on here and sharing this with us, man.
Blair.
This is
David.
really special, buddy. It's really special for us.
I think
Thank you. I
the
appreciate
Thank you.
most fascinating part of it for me was that Eddie said to you at one point, is like, I guess there was some kind of thrill in telling some guy he didn't even know, like his, how he really felt about it. It was almost like therapy. Is like, he said something to you at some point where like, I don't, and I'm telling this to somebody I've never even met. I don't even know. I think he kind of rushed for him and telling you that,
Yeah, I mean, that was certainly, that's why I kind of just asked him, early on. I was just like, this doesn't, like, why, because,
Hey, Kaylee, welcome.
I'm obviously, oh, that's my daughter.
Oh, nice.
Excellent. Welcome.
Yeah. So she got upset because she wasn't mentioning the story, although she didn't read it. So I told her that she had to read it, or else I was going to buy her a new phone.
Nice.
That's my son.
Braden Fisher.
And my son's on there. He was mentioned. Anyway, so I forgot what I was going to say. I don't know. I'm sure it wasn't that important.
we were talking about how he was using you, basically somebody he didn't even know.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Right. Yeah, because so as you guys all know, and probably more so than me. I'm like I would say I'm a journalist, and I'm a huge fan, and I watched every interview, I read every, he didn't do that many, so and I just sort of like, I'm just I just eat all that stuff up. So everybody knew that David Lee Roth and Eddie Van Halen didn't get along. That was like the worst kept secret of all time. But to hear him say all the stuff that he was saying and about everybody, it just like, and before he even knew who I was just didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So that was just so like, that was the part that kept me really like skeptical about that it was actually him, because why would anybody who had been so guarded in what they were saying to the press be like spilling their heart out to somebody they didn't even know online? It just didn't make any, I could have been anybody. Sure. And the fact that it was a journalist didn't make it any better once he found that out. So
he actually had faith in you and trusted you to the extent he did.
Exactly. And I think that was important, and like I said, he said, like, every once in a while he'd say something like, don't tell any, like when he told me something about his health, and or other things. He'd say, he would just say like, don't tell. And he knew that I wasn't going to, but he would just sort of say, hey, don't mention this, and stuff that we all know now, but like stuff that back then was like, a huge secret. So and there's like, I mean, God willing, there'll be an opportunity to do a book one day. We'll see. And there's stuff that I would never share in the book because I just know that he wouldn't want it out there, and it just wouldn't it wouldn't benefit anybody, and it would just it would come out wrong, and it just wouldn't be worthwhile. But there's still a lot of really some stories that are amazing that obviously I wasn't able to put in the feature that you guys are gonna. If the book ever happens, you guys will love, because it's pretty some really cool stuff that happened too. So
what I found really amazing was that all of the questions and things that we had about what was going on inside there with Michael Anthony and with Sammy and stuff like that. I never thought he was very eloquent about explaining it in the press, and even the Billboard article in 2015 where he just like took shots at Michael Anthony out of he wasn't even like asked about him, and he just went out of his way to attack him. Obviously, I guess that was his own defense mechanism for seeing things on the internet written about his son. So maybe that's why he felt he had to lash out. But he brought so much clarity talking to you and just texts and things like that. And I was always down on him for the Michael Anthony thing too. It's just like, but the way he explained it to you, I kind of like, okay, I kind of see his whole side of it now, and his whole point. Basically, he felt like he abandoned them, you know what I mean, and went with Sam, and that was and the whole Sammy thing being much deeper than the whole Roth thing. It was never about money with Roth. You say, it was never. It was just, personality really. Whereas Hagar, he felt that he was just really using the band, for personal gain, basically, But and at the end, I guess Eddie probably knew, his time was limited, and obviously he did make peace with Sammy, I guess, in the last few months. I guess you were probably you were surprised as anybody probably to see that, right?
I was, and it was like interesting, when I was seeing when I read like Sammy Hagar talking about that after, and it was interesting. Sort of the cadence of their conversation was very similar to mine, where he was talking to him for a long time, and then he just heard nothing at the end, kind of like me. It was because it just wasn't like him. Like he always responded to my texts, and he would like respond faster than my wife, like text. Like I mean, it was crazy. I'd send him a text, and it would just be like 2 seconds later I'd get a response. It was like there was like, so if it was like 5 minutes, I'd be like, oh, something's wrong, and that was the way it was, early on when we would talk and stuff, and even like, even when he was in Europe, I would get like, when I would get texts from him, they were all like these strange characters on them. So I knew before he even told me, I knew he was in Europe because they all came back all these weird like kind of characters on them. But he would always like get back to me in the middle, it could be like whatever time it was, and he was just a really good guy. What I mean?
Blair, did you notice that Eddie just really tended to sort of speak his mind and just
he did, I mean, I think that he had a lot inside. I mean, he had said, that he had told me on a couple of different occasions he was going to write a book with Alex. I don't know how that would work, but that was what he said on a couple of times. And so every once in a while I would say, oh my God, you got to write a book. He'd tell me a story, and I'd say, oh my God, you got to put this in your book. He'd be like, oh, don't worry, I got lots of stuff. And so, I'm sure Alex one day will write a book, and I'm sure it'll be phenomenal. And I hope that a lot of it, we already all the stories we all know are incredible. So I can only imagine what we don't know. So he had a great memory about stuff. Like, I mean, sometimes it was like, obviously we all know that his version of how Sammy Hagar left the band and all that, or the whole thing with like David Lee Roth and, during the MTV Awards and all that kind of stuff. There's different versions of all that happened, how all that happened, but he had a pretty good memory about a lot of different stuff, which was amazing considering what he, what he had done to himself, with drugs and alcohol and all that.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, also, Blair, you have to realize that was so fascinating because the information outlets are non-existent in the Van Halen camp and have been for many, many years. So any new, stuff that's never been heard before. This is so interesting and fascinating to all of us. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's cool. I mean, I agree. That's kind of, what I was hoping what people would be like, they get this sort of a window into his final years, because as you all know, he kind of fell off the grid shortly after the tour. Nobody really heard from him or anything, and maybe a couple appearances here and there. And so and I just thought that it was the right time. It had been long enough, and I knew that the sort of the sentiment of the story was, that he was a good guy, and that I liked him, and that he was, that he wasn't like, that he was a fighter. He spent 3 years like doing the unimaginable things to try to keep himself alive, and I think people needed to hear that, because I think, I mean, there was just so much stuff that he endured to be here for his son, to be here for his wife, or be for fans, and he had a lot more planned, as you can read in the story. So I mean, like I'm sure you guys all feel, it still doesn't feel real. And he's not, there's certain musicians that are all around that era that all seem to die. Like when I was talking to him, and I would mention them, and when Bowie died, or when Prince died, or when Lemmy died, all these people, and I would talk to him about them, and it's just, it was just sad, like especially as a lot of it occurred when he had already been diagnosed, and I didn't know all the details, but I knew things were getting bad. And but he always, he was a fighter. What can you say? Like that's just, you got to respect that.
Yeah, and he never gave up looking forward. Like I got the feeling from you speaking to him that he was ready to put Van Halen to bed. That's why he said he wouldn't have to deal with not much longer. Dave, I wouldn't have to deal with it much longer. And he had other plans, obviously soundtrack music and working with other people and things like that. So I mean, he was, like you said, he didn't. I don't know if he realized that he wasn't going to be around for long, or just that he was just going to try to prolong as long as
Alan.
And obviously,
nice
Wolfgang's album, he was very excited for that. That was
JG. Good to see you.
I think, right?
Yeah, I mean, he would bring up Wolf, like, and I was always very careful to not really bring up Wolf a lot, or even, only when he did, because, it's his son, and I just felt like that was kind of like, especially when the whole conversation started with me asking about Michael Anthony. But I was always I was just very cautious about talking about him, because it's his son, and I knew how protective he was of him, and I knew what he meant to him, obviously. And so only, when he would bring him up, or whatever, I would ask about him, and about the record and all that kind of stuff. But he was just like, you could hear when you've heard interviews with Wolfgang, and he talks about how his dad was just, his biggest fan, and always gushing about him and stuff like that. And that was the same way he was with me, just talking about, how what he meant to him, and his album's incredible, and he can all this stuff. And, there's more details about all that stuff that I hope to put in the book, if there is a book. So,
yeah. When was your last contact with him, Blair?
I think it was I think it was August 11th, like a couple of months before. It was a couple of months before he died, and like I said, it was just very different at the end, where the conversations got really short. It was just emojis, and he used a lot of emojis. That's one thing that. So it's funny when you think of Eddie Van Halen using emojis, I guess, right? But he used a lot of emojis, and which was funny, and I tried to come up with some emojis and myself, because he used them a lot. But yeah, they just got, I would send a really long text, and he would just respond with a thumbs up and stuff, and I knew things were bad. I'll tell you one funny story that wasn't in the article. It was I can't remember. I sent him a text one day, and I can't remember what it was about. I think it was some interview that Sammy Hagar or David Lee Roth had done, and I sent him a text, and he responded to it like, haha, whatever it was. And then he was like, "Who is this?" And I said, "It's Blair." He's like, "Well, how come your name's not coming up?" I said, "I don't know." He's like, "Wait," and he got confused. And I'm like, "Don't you remember?" And I looked at our previous conversation. We were talking about like our dogs or something like that, or it was something like that. And he's like, "I know, but like, wait." And he's like, "Your name's not." And all I'm thinking is, my name's in Eddie Van Halen's phone. That's all I was thinking. That's all I got out of it. Like that's just the weirdest thing to think. Like that's
Wow.
the cool thing. Just thinking,
Yeah.
wow, he's goes to his phone and says Blair. It's like that's kind of cool. But then I was able to convince him that it was me. I don't know, and that was kind of funny. And it was another time he butt dialed me too. That was weird. Yeah.
What kind of phone was his?
I think he had an iPhone. But
I was always curious what he used.
Yeah, I think he had an iPhone. I'm an Android person, but yeah, I was walking home from someplace and my phone rang. I looked up and it said Edward Van Allen, and I was just like, what the fuck? And I like answered it and there was nothing there, and I texted him back like, are you all right? And I didn't think I heard anything, but I was weird. That was a weird moment too.
Wow.
Pretty funny. He had an AOL email account too.
Yeah.
Blair,
And it was a gibberish email, and then that was like I can't say it because if you search on it, you can find stuff. But it didn't. I asked him once what it meant, and he couldn't remember.
Wow.
It didn't make any sense. But yeah, so yeah, it was good. Yeah, I mean, it was a crazy experience. It's funny because I saw people on I saw a couple of posts online where people were like questioning whether it was real and stuff, and it's funny the world we live in where like everything has to be questioned, like nothing can be real anymore, everything has to be fake.
Yeah, right.
So not many people thought that, but there was a just to say out loud when Rolling Stone does a story, they check everything. So they check the phone number, they check the email address, they check them with all the management, they check it with the publicist. So the first thing I had to do was say, okay, here's the telephone number. Is this Eddie Van Halen's number? And the publicist said, yes, that's his number. Is this his email address? That's his email address. Plus, I have a couple photos that he sent me that nobody's ever seen, but Rolling Stone has seen them.
Let me ask you this, Blair. Now, I know there's a lot of stuff that you want kept private, but did he at all talk about Wolf's music?
A little bit. Not that much. I mean, not about like what it sounded like. Just more about like his skill set and how just like gushing about he can play any instrument and stuff like that, and he can just do it all, and just stuff that he's really I had to go back and look at research and see what was said about Wolfgang over the years. A lot of the stuff didn't end up making the article, but he'd been like blowing smoke up Wolfie's ass like for a year since he was like a toddler, always talking about what how skilled he was. So this was just like you could see it building, so it was just more of that. He was just like you can just see that he just doted on him so much, but he didn't talk too much about like what the sound was. And if he did, I don't remember it, but I'd have to go back and look, but I don't think too much.
Just curious.
Did you get the impression that he heard the whole album?
Oh yeah.
He did? Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was one of those things I always worried about, when I knew, obviously we knew he heard the song Distance because Wolf talked about what it meant to him. Mm-hmm. But, I was always kind of hoping because unfortunately he never got to see the success and the tour and the Grammy nomination, all that stuff. So I was just kind of always hoping that he got to hear the completed album. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. I mean, like again, a lot of the stuff that came up about the album was really towards the end, and again, like I didn't talk too much about him because and I might have been wrong. It just didn't feel right. That's cool
to talk about. I don't know why. I just like there were certain things where I just felt like I had no problem talking about Hagar and Roth because I think it was more that was my era. I mean, these are the people that just like you guys. We're all probably similar ages and
not Josh.
Well, but like Wolf, but Wolf like came, was much younger. Yeah, right. Not Josh.
Josh is like our age in spirit, though. He loves.
Yeah, he's like mine. I think he's exactly half my age. But yeah, I mean, I think so. I felt totally comfortable talking. I mean, I've interviewed Sammy Hagar a couple of times. I met Roth like once, like really briefly, and it's just enough to get him to sign a CD. So I had no issues with like talking about those guys. I felt like I had some kind of a like journalistic relationship with them. But Wolf seemed to be kind of in some ways untouchable for me. That was never something that he said. It was just something that I felt. So
I respect that. Yeah.
I was the whole Roth situation was kind of what we suspected, I guess. But when you hear it, that it was actually real, that he wasn't even speaking, they weren't even really speaking to him. Basically, I think they'd go out and pretend for 2 hours like they were, buddies, and then go their separate ways until the next city. He wouldn't even do sound checks with them, I guess, right? He would just show up on the stage, and then, like you said, the deep cuts. Eddie wasn't sure if he was going to do them, and he and he was kind of asking you what you thought, really, right?
There was a lot, and there's more to that. There's more to that stuff that would come out in the book. But that was when he asked me like that. I was
Wow.
I think that was really early on, and I still didn't believe it was him. So I was like, I cannot believe you're asking me these questions. Like, it just didn't make any sense to me. Like, you're really asking me if I think you should do karaoke or not? And I'm like, he was explaining it, and I'm like, all right, I think that's a bad idea. I know, as you know from the story, I was not that, look, it's funny because a lot of people online were saying I don't like the I don't like the David Lee Roth version. I prefer the Sammy Hagar version. That's not true at all. I was speaking more about
talent-wise,
the current version of the band, where I think the Hagar just sings better than Roth does now. But like, if you gave me a choice between the two versions, I would take the original version if it was sounded like 1984 and earlier, as opposed to post Me Wise Magic kind of.
Right.
But I love the Hagar version also. But that was fun. That was the impression people got, that I was like a David Lee Roth hater, which is not true. I was just not a fan of his voice at the end.
I got exactly what you were saying with that. Yeah. I totally got it. I think that I wonder. I mean, Eddie must have known that Roth really couldn't bring it anymore vocally. I mean, I think that's why they worked so hard, him and Wolfgang, on the background vocals, and the band sounded so good because they had to make up for that. And but I'm sure they couldn't speak to him and address it and say, Dave, just sing it like it is on the album. Why are you screaming so high, trying to, but I guess they couldn't say that to him because the whole thing could fall apart at that point. If they did approach him, it would be a big fight probably.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and again, there'd be more about this in the book, but I think you can sort of see that there was, I think there was this thought that, the options were limited, right? I mean, what were they going to? You really had two choices because you weren't going back to Gary Sharon. You got Hagar and you got Roth, and then that's it. So you have to pick one of them. So who do you go with? When they're in a weird spot because as Hagar didn't really like singing David Lee Roth songs. We do a couple. And Roth was could never ever sing a Hagar song. So you have all this. However you do it, you kind of split the catalog, right? You can only do
Did Ed want those Hagar songs in the set?
What's that?
Did Ed want those songs in the set?
Those
Sammy Hagar songs?
Oh, in a David Lee Roth show? No, I mean, he knew that would never happen. Yeah, that was not even that was laughable. I think I brought something up like that once when talking about what they called later the kitchen sinks tour. When he was describing what it would be like and all that, but I think, but there's he not for a second did he think. I remember asking about Me Wise Magic because I really liked that song, and he was like he'd never sing that song, and I was like, oh, that's so there's just certain songs he just wouldn't sing. I don't know. I don't have a list of what they were, but that was one of them.
That was another takeaway from your whole article was that. We thought that, Eddie just didn't feel like doing anything. Or he was lazy. So, sometimes I always go, well, why aren't they doing anything? But really a lot of it was on Roth because he just refused to do. From when I read your article, I couldn't believe how he was just so difficult about everything. He wouldn't do anything. You know what I mean? And it's funny because to what you were saying, that Billboard article in 2015, Eddie said that he's come to accept that people will only accept Roth being the singer of Van Halen, and Eddie had to just say, it is what it is. That's what people, that's Van Halen. His voice is considered. So
I think he was. I think he understood what people wanted. He had and I think it mattered to him what the fans wanted. It really did. I think. I mean, he knew that ultimately people wanted to see the David Lee Roth version, and that that's when he, and even when he was talking about what would become the kitchen sink tour, he knew that people wanted to see the classic version, the original version of the band. Like he was like, all right, Wolf says it's okay, so we'll do it, kind of thing. I'm totally, if that's so. He was totally willing to do that. He wanted, because he wanted to play. I think that was just that's what he did best, was play. So if that's what's going to take to get him to play, then that's what we'll do. And just have to sort of deal with deal with the issues that you have with David Roth's vocals. And it was unfortunate. I'm sure I never saw Van Halen nearly as much as you guys, but I saw him like on the last 3 or 4 tours. And the first time I saw him was the Hagar. I saw every incarnation from Hagar on. His voice was it was tough to listen to. It was just tough. It was just like, and that live album is just brutal. I can't. It's a hard. It's just not. It's just
they recorded they videotaped and recorded audio every show that they did the last 3 or 4 tours, and basically it's all unusable for a live concert video or album because the vocals are so bad, and it's just a shame that.
It is. It's too bad, I wish it could have been different. Because I'm not a David Lee Roth hater. I don't want to be skinny. I don't know the guy, so I can't. I think that maybe if it comes off like that in the article, that sucks, because that was not my intention. Because my intention was not to think that this whole conversation one day would go public. That was just something that later on, I was like, oh, this could make a great story. But I wasn't thinking I better not say anything about David Lee Roth, because one day this is going to end up in print. It was more just me just saying shit because I didn't think I was talking to Eddie Van Halen. I just thought I was talking to some. I thought it was. There's just no way in hell that I think it was going to be.
After the way you started it, right? You didn't think...
right, exactly. Who thought? Who thinks someone's going to respond after that?
Right.
So yeah.
It's just.
I'll show you my. Here's my. Wait, I brought out a couple. This is the guitar pick he gave me.
Oh, will you hold that up real close to your camera so we can see it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's flipping awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
And then this is so I brought the Fair Warning CD, and so when I brought it, I had because as you know, the cover's dark, so I had I think I had a white pen or a silver pen, but I handed it to him, and he started signing it before I could hand him the pen, so you can't even read what he wrote. It's and it just it's really I think it says I haven't even read it. It just says nice to meet you, because I'd only known him for a short time.
Okay.
We see it. We can see that.
Yeah,
that's
nice.
awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah. So that's all So then I didn't get the photo. We walked out of the dressing room and we're like, shit, we didn't get a photo. And so we stood outside the dressing room and for I don't know, 5-10 minutes. And then we're shit. We're we'll just leave. Well, maybe we'll come. Because I thought I for sure thought there'd be another chance one day.
Symmetry, welcome.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
Chris Hunter, welcome.
Blair, so over that 5-year period, how often would you correspond with him? Was it weekly? Was it daily? Was it a couple times a week?
The longest would go would be every couple of weeks, but it was usually because it's as text conversations are sometimes I could be talking to him every day for 3 or 4 days, and then I might go a couple weeks, but usually never longer than that.
Was it usually text, or would you ever talk on the phone or anything like that, or was it usually text?
No, I felt weird about the phone. There's a couple of times where I thought about, especially at the end, I thought should I just was and I would really get into a state should I, I just felt weird about it. And I remember one time I was actually going to be in California, and I said, hey, and I thought maybe just because I wanted to see if he'd invite me, but he was in Philadelphia at the time, so I couldn't. But I would have wondered if he would have invited me over to his house, but and he probably would have, but he wasn't in town. But yeah, it was all other than the meeting, it was all text messages. But yeah, but there I would send him like there's a couple. My son was playing like music something on his iPad, and I'd send him clips of that to Eddie to look at, to listen to, and he'd send me photos, like some couple of photos he sent that are kind of cool of him, and one of him and one of him and Wolf, that were really kind of cool.
So there's a
But
lot
yeah,
more.
I mean, he was really open. I mean, he was just always like, he was just a, I mean, like after there are moments where you just think you're just talking to just some regular guy.
Right.
And as I wrote in the story, there were times where like he'd be sending these long texts, and I'd just be like, all right, I gotta go to bed. And I just, sorry, I gotta go to bed. It's he's in California and I'm in Chicago, and so I was like, all right, I'm kind of tired, so I'm going to bed. Thanks, just like you would with just a normal person, and that's just the way it kind of felt after a while, just talking to him and shooting the shit about different stuff, and
That's pretty cool.
yeah. So he was just, he's, I've never heard anybody say anything bad about the guy. I mean, probably when he was really at his worst, like with the stuff that Sammy Hagar wrote about wrote about him in the book, but when he was drunk and all that shit. But he's just, he was just a really nice guy, I mean, and he didn't like, he wasn't looking for like any of the attention that he got. I mean, even like, when I mentioned when I met him, and there was all these kids that were there, and they were clearly like, sick, and they were getting autographs, and he didn't publicize any of that stuff. And there was stuff that leaked online about him having conversations with kids that were sick, and
Right.
he didn't put that out there. He didn't feel the need to do that. He wasn't looking for that kind of press. He just did it because he was a good guy. Like that was just who he was. He never looked at the optics of things. Like that was not like a thing with him. Like, oh, how's this going to look? He didn't give a shit. He just did whatever he wanted to do, and,
Right.
so.
So
Right on.
as far as you want to do the book, have you shopped it around, or have you started doing any of that yet, or?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking. I mean, we're talking to places. There's a lot of like weird little issues with it, the potential issues that like have to get sorted out. But I mean, I think people would really like it. There's a lot of really great stuff. I mean, this is just like this is a 6,000 word story, and a book is going to have like 10 times as many words and more stuff. So I think people would really like. You guys would love it.
Oh yeah. We'd eat it up.
Yeah, there's some really cool anecdotes in there that I think you guys would love. So hopefully, hopefully it happens. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
We hope so.
I just have one question, because I know your time's limited, but I was curious, piggybacking on what you had just previously said, how long did it take for the effect that it was Eddie Van Halen that you were communicating with once you had, authenticated it? Because I know there's a thing that in human psychology where even, for example, my ex-wife is English. After a certain point in the relationship, I didn't hear her accent anymore. Your brain actually changes the way you perceive someone. I had a friend that was very attractive, that was a model, but we were platonic friends. And as we became friends for longer, I never saw her the same. And everyone would try and ask her out and say, "Why aren't you dating her?" I said, "Well, she's just my friend." And I didn't see her the same way. Did that occur quickly? Was that a slow process?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, for like it sounds like braggy in a way, but I mean, like, because I mean, I've interviewed so many rock stars. Like, I interviewed Robert Plant in person. I interviewed AC/DC. So I already had this familiarity with so I never really got starstruck. I got over that really like many years ago, and I just interviewed tons of people like that I never. So I never really. I always was very like. Eddie Van Halen is a different echelon, but I think it didn't take long. I mean, I'd say like. Because I think the reason is because I gave him shit right from the beginning, like stuff like you could so it wasn't like I didn't start off like oh my god, I'm talking to like I cannot believe this and all, I started off like being a dick immediately. Right. so there was just like the sense of like he doesn't care that I'm like when I say this is a stupid idea, or like he would say stuff and I would say that's not gonna work. Or like something like that. I'd be like, he would give me, he'd throw stuff out there and be like, "Oh, we're thinking of doing this," and I'd be like, "I don't see how that's going to work." And I would just I wouldn't just be like, "Oh, that's a great idea." Like if I thought it was stupid, I would say it was stupid. And so I think there was just a sense of like, that's just who I am, and I guess I think that comes because of my background, having interviewed so many rock stars and stuff like that in the past, and just kind of just being very like just so familiar with it and used to
I'm
it. So
sure,
I guess
Blair, your candor in his ears was a breath of fresh air. You know,
maybe. I mean, I'm sure. Yeah,
all the time. So
Yeah, you weren't.
yeah. I think so. I think so. I think it was. I mean, I gotta believe it was because we talked for so long. I mean, I can't imagine that. I can't imagine that. I mean, he could have cut me loose whenever he wanted. He could have blocked me. He could have stopped the, all that stuff. He could have just said, "Fuck this!" Like, I don't need to talk to this guy.
Well, the interesting thing I noticed about your article is your article starts out with an absolute engagement between you and Edward Van Halen. You weren't sure that's what you didn't even know, but that just goes to show you that you were the opposite. You were giving him something to engage, as opposed to just saying, "Oh my God, you're the greatest this, you're the greatest that," or agreeing with everything he says. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I never told him anything.
By the way, everybody out there in the chat or whoever hears this hasn't read this article, you need to read this article just for yourself. It's really outstanding. I can't come up with enough words to say just how deeply that thing touched me. You're one of the luckiest guys on the planet, brother.
In 6,000 words, you were able to start out, like you said, just breaking the guy's balls. But by the end of it, you were concerned. You had anxiety over his not hearing from him because you knew he was ill. You knew the illness was progressing. You were unsure. It just that 5-year period. It was like kind of a roller coaster of. So, and you really convey that in the article. And I always got the impression that Eddie knew a lot of people, knew a lot of people, but I felt that he just had a close inner circle, and I don't think he had many. That was it. Those were his, 4 or 5 people maybe, and I don't think he really bothered with a lot of other people maybe besides that. So I think you were kind of an outlet that like he could bounce things off you and just shoot the shit with you just like a normal person, and which is probably something that I don't think he had maybe a lot of. You know what I mean? At all.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. Yeah,
you brought a fresh perspective into his world.
Yeah, I think that's I mean, I don't he would certainly reference people people that I some friends and stuff like people musicians like Steve Lukather from Toto and stuff, and and I know obviously he had friends. I think the nature of their relationship and what they talked about, I had no idea. But yeah, he must have. I think he found something. I mean, in whatever I was talking about that connected with them. I don't know what it is, but he had a great sense of humor too. And sometimes things don't translate on text, as you know. So I was like, wait, did he think I just offended him or something like that? Stuff like that, or But yeah,
I found it so funny when he was talking about Michael Anthony, and I've always thought that Michael Anthony. I never really think of him as a frontman singer, but I always think of him as the icing on the cake to complement a lead singer. I mean, that's really his forte. And it's funny that, Eddie would say something like, he sounds like Mickey Mouse. I find that utterly amazing. And that's just him being brutally honest with me. That's when I was reading it, I was just like, my God, he's not pulling any punches. He's just being totally real. And I find that very refreshing.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think it's hard. I think for
although I disagree with the Mickey Mouse part, he sings a hell of a lot better than Mickey Mouse. Best vocalist, backup vocalist in rock history.
I thought about that for like 2 days.
What's that?
I said I thought about that comment for like 2 days when you mentioned Mickey Mouse. That was the one thing that stuck in my head.
Yeah. That's
it's weird. It's weird now, like that everybody's like quoting stuff from like all these exchanges were private for so long, and it's just weird to see like people quoting them online and stuff, and the double exclamation point stuff. People are like writing emails and using that, and that's kind of cool. And I think it's nice that people are able to like sort of see this side of him that maybe they didn't see before, and understand what he endured at the end, knowing that he wasn't being silent because he didn't give a shit about the fans. It was just that he was like fighting like mad to stay alive, and that was his priority. Yeah. It wasn't to he wanted to play another show. He wanted to that was like his goal at the end, to keep be back out there. And I think just the concept of the kitchen sink tour was this sort of like this this fruit, this dangling fruit that they put in front of them just so they would, so they had something to work towards. I think that was like,
Right.
and how great would it have been? Personally, as an editor, it's just, I don't think it ever would have happened, even if he had been well, because I don't think David Lee Roth would have ever done that. But that's just my gut feeling. I just don't see any way that he gets on stage and trades songs. He hated saying Hagar, and he always thought he was so much better than Hagar. So I can't imagine them swapping songs. I don't ever imagine that happening. But that's
Blair, if that actually had happened,
yeah.
the band Van Halen would have basically sealed a career that spanned 4 decades in the most awesome fashion that it could have ever been done. That would have been
it would have been incredible.
epic tour ever to a Van Halen fan.
Right. It would have been crazy.
Yeah.
What I thought was fascinating was how open he was about his illness with you, which was very secretive. Nobody really knew anything about it, and he trusted you enough that obviously that you wouldn't say anything, and you never did, obviously. But the fact that he was so open about it, and I mean, as things went on, he would tell you update you at what was going on. Did he ever talk about that motorcycle accident he had? Did he ever go into anything like that?
No, that never came up. That was, I saw an interview with Wolf, and that was weird. I can't forget the timing of that, but he never mentioned that. I don't know why that never came up.
It was like end of 2000, was it 18?
Right.
Or something like that, right? And
it never came up. I don't know why. Yeah.
Pretty wild, but it was just very well. I mean, you're a great writer. You could tell you have a background in that. It was riveting. It was really you couldn't put it down. And I mean, I hope that you do the book. I really do. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And I hope you update us and let us know what's going on with that. I hope you get something, because we love we'll eat all this stuff up.
Yeah, if there is, if it occurs, you guys will know for sure, and I'll put something on social media or something like that, or but yeah, hopefully we'll see what happens. I know it's a great story, and the nice thing about it is that because of all the feedback and thanks to everybody that sent me emails or posted stuff on social media, because it was really, really touching and overwhelming, and just I was sitting right where I'm sitting right now on the 4th or the 3rd, and I was I had tears in my eyes, literally just reading all these emails and posts, people pouring their hearts out, and it was just totally not anything what I was expecting. So I thank everybody for that, and it was just really pretty. It was really the response has been just overwhelming, and not anything I expected. It was very nice. So thank you for that.
So Blair, we got to get any social media. Holly was mentioning it in the chat here. Any of your socials so people can follow you and things like that.
Yeah.
Well, the Twitter is the best place. So it's can I type it in the chat thing? Can I do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll just type it.
We'll have those links too down in the show immediately after. So yeah.
I just typed it in there. Yeah, I'm new. I'm new to Twitter, so I have almost no followers. So the more the better. And then I promise to keep everybody up to date on anything that's going on in this world or anything else. Thanks guys. Thanks for everybody. Thanks for having me on. This was fun.
No, thank you.
Thanks for hanging out, man.
Yeah, thanks so much, and thank you for sharing your story with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we'll have another chance to do this when there's something more to talk about. And thanks again for everything. And this has been great. Thank you.
We look forward
to
it.
We definitely want you to come back.
Yes,
Sounds good.
for sure.
Awesome. Well, I'd love
Thanks for letting us live vicariously through you.
Yes.
Every Van Halen fan's
Yes.
dream right there. So
Yes.
Yeah.
No worries.
awesome.
100%.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Ladies
Have a great
and
day.
gentlemen,
Thank you so much.
Blair
man.
Fischer, thank you, dude.
Thanks so much,
Bye.
man.
That was awesome, man.
All righty. Let's see where we are here.
That was
All right.
cool.
Let's get. Oh man. How you like that?
What a
What
great
do you guys
story.
think?
Kids. Right on.
Great story.
That was.
Everybody follow Blair on at Wright Blair, WRITE Blair on Twitter.
Yeah, we'll put that in the show after
You
the
can
show.
pin the
You'll
comment,
see that.
can't you, from within the software?
Yeah. We're going to hear Josh in that Schecter 2 in his hands. We're also going to do some Van Halen trivia, which I feel like is ungettable tonight. None of these guys got it backstage, so
I have an unboxing,
there's
but
your
it's not.
hint.
Hey, I showed up late.
I've got
not
an
the hard
unboxing too, by the way, which I'm gonna have to. I think there's a couple of things in here,
I think there are in that one.
so
I don't
I'm
think
gonna
mine's guitar
pinch
stuff
one
though,
out.
so.
I'm gonna pinch one out and save the other for show me your pick, Charles. Is that right?
That rocks, man. That
All
rocks.
right. So that's we'll do that, but a very cool unboxing. A Charles Green unboxing.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and we're going to do some Van Halen trivia at some point. But that was cool. Thank you, Blair.
Yeah, Blair,
Thank
you're
you
welcome.
again, dude. That was, wow. Yeah, so if you haven't read the Rolling Stone article, yeah, it's up on the Van Halen news desk. Still just a couple of weeks old, that Rolling Stone article. Speaking of the Van Halen news desk, the CD Deraps is available on the Van Halen store. Okay.
Nice.
So I want to put that out there. Deraps, the CD, you can get it on the Van Halen store. Go get it. So, yeah.
Love it. I love it.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So thanks to everybody who's still hanging out. We'll change the card of the show now that we've revealed who our special guest.
This is great with Joshua here. I was driving down the road today, middle of the day. I was miserable, tired. I had to work like 14 hours today, you guys. And the only thing that kept a smile on my face was knowing I was going to be on a show tonight with Joshua Jones and Blair. And I kept saying to myself, I said, well, it's going to be all right, man. It's going to be all right. And, man, Joshua, it's really great being on a show with you, man. I thank you for coming on here with us and spending your time. I'm a huge fan of yours, just like everyone else in the chat. I wanted to ask you a question. You play the Schecters, and you where did you learn to tap so good? Who taught you how to tap? When you started taking lessons, did you take like classical guitar at first, or did you strictly stick with rock and want to shred? I mean, were you driven just to shred? Is that because it sort of seems to me, but you're not just a shredder. I'm
a wanker.
You got it all covered, brother. But your tapping is utterly amazing, and it's so clean, and you do it so effortlessly. And I just wanted to let you know I'm just impressed.
What is your top 2-3 guitar influences? What makes you play? What inspires you to play like you do?
So I think most people that grow up in my generation that are my age or younger, I think most of us don't really learn. Maybe I'm just speaking for myself here, but I never took lessons. I've never taken a lesson in my life.
Interesting.
Wow.
But I looked up a lot of stuff on YouTube when I
first started. So Joshua, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you're basically a product of YouTube? Is that what I'm hearing?
I mean, yeah, mainly YouTube, but I mean, honestly, more just sitting in the room by myself all day, just playing.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, like,
You know your scales like you were schooled, dude.
yeah, YouTube to start. But I mean, even then, I mean, the main thing I didn't like about the main thing I didn't like about lessons was, you know, I mean, like I could, like, just for an example, you know, I mean, like the first riff I ever learned was one by Metallica. I think it's track 4 off Injustice, and you know, because when you're starting out, you want to learn metal and stuff, and you know, in the video, I think it was the channel is like Expert Village or something like that. It was like they did like a little bit of everything, and I just remember watching this video. And this guy was like, yeah, so you're gonna put this finger here, and then you're gonna put your ring finger right here. And I immediately didn't like that. I was like, I don't want somebody telling me what fingers I'm gonna use on what frets. You know, but I mean, like I would watch those videos just to get the notes down.
Sure.
And then I would just play things how I wanted to. But yeah, I mean the tapping.
And you're sweeping. You sweep. You don't sort of, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but you don't sort of just generalize and sweep and continue. You'll throw a 1 or 2 in. You'll articulate. You'll do a couple of pick squeals, and then you'll move forward.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I use sweeping as just another tool. I do it a lot whenever I'm just in the room, but man, live, I mean, like we do like 36 to 40 songs. I probably do maybe like 4 arpeggios the entire night. You know, which is maybe like 10 seconds added up out of all of them. But yeah, I mean, the sweeping, all that stuff came along pretty quick. As far as the influences go, I mean, my influences always changed. I want to answer this really quick. Somebody asked if I like D-Raps. Yeah, I've talked with D-Raps a few times. He's a really good guy, and his record's pretty cool. It's when did it just come out? It came out like a month ago. I think.
Been about 3 weeks now, I believe.
Yeah. I listened on Spotify. It's pretty killer. I like that. He's got one song. I believe it's called "Veins of My Heart."
Veins of My Heart. Yeah.
Sandra.
Yeah. Super cool.
I like D-Raps a lot. I mean, anybody who likes Van Halen, I'm gonna like them. But yeah, as far as top 3 players go, I think everybody has a different list. But I mean, you know, I mean, it changes, you know, constantly for me. But you know, when I was first starting out, it was CC DeVille. And then it was some guy in David Lee Roth's band. I didn't know who Steve Vai was yet. I had no idea that was Steve Vai playing guitar in David's band.
Wow.
Heart guitar.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I used to watch that video all the time. Where he does that. It's like the end of what is it? It's Just Like Paradise. And you go da 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 da. Wow. And I'm like, that's
Yankee Rose.
Yeah. So it's those 2 guys, and you know, and then Kirk Hammett was right after that, and then Slash, and you know, and then a lot of heavier, more modern stuff. You know, stuff like Killswitch Engage. Anything in the metalcore or deathcore was stuff I was listening to after that, and then it went off into a complete, you know, different turn, and it was like John Mayer. I really liked John Mayer's phrasing. I thought his phrasing was really great. And then Boston. I was really into Boston for a long time.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then after that, I think it pretty much, like, by the time I was 17 or about to be 18 is whenever I discovered Van Halen. You know, I mean, I had heard songs floating left and right around me, but it didn't hit me. Music has to hit me at the right moment in my life for me to be able to connect with it. If somebody just shows me a song and if they love it, I might feel different about it because it might not be the right time for me to hear it yet in my life. So I have to make a connection with it, and that was just the right place and the right time. But right now, I would say the influences are definitely like Van Halen, Dimebag, Yngwie, few guys on YouTube like Rick Graham and Marshall Harrison. I really dig those guys playing.
Marshall's crazy, man.
Yeah,
Isn't he
Marshall's crazy.
insane?
There's a few wonder kids too that I've discovered. I mean, I think everyone knows Max Ostro now.
Yep.
And and there's like some dudes on Instagram that I watch, like Steven Toronto, and just like these guys are like just insane players.
Are you into any of the younger guys that are more like progressive jazz type?
Yeah, I love that. I love that type of guitar playing. Yeah.
Because if you haven't checked him out, there's a guitar player, actually. He's a guitar teacher as well, down in the Miami area. When I was at University of Miami, he was my guitar teacher there. And I'll give you his YouTube channel because I can't think of what it is off the top. But he's an Irish guy, but he's phenomenal if you like progressive and jazz. He taught jazz, but I mean, the guy can play anything. But he had, what's the guy's name? Anton
O'Perrin.
Yeah, he had him on, and he's had both of the guys you mentioned on, and I mean, he's way into that. So
yeah, there's a lot of really, really good fusion players out there. I mean, I've dabbled a little bit. I wouldn't say Ted Green is fusion, but he's more portal.
Ted Green.
Yeah, I really like Ted's playing. And then there's newer guys, or I guess guys that have been around for a while now, like Tom Quayle and Gilvin, and I think everybody knows who that is. And and then you have like some of the other guys that are like Andrew Nieri. And those guys just kind of blow my mind sometimes.
Do you like the guys, if you're into Ted Green, do you like the guys that are more harmonically rich like that, but not as melodic, like the Lenny Bro, that kind of stuff?
Honestly, whenever it comes to guitar playing, like it as long as I feel like whoever's playing the guitar, if it's coming from the right place, I'm gonna like what I'm hearing. Sure. I'm not too picky with guitar players. I am, like, whenever I'm playing guitar, I'm not very picky with it. But if I'm just listening to music, I don't listen to a lot of jazz fusion. But if I have a guitar in my hand, I'll study it. But if I'm listening to music, I mean, like I think guitar players that I listen to right now, if it's just solely guitar music, would definitely be like Pliny is my favorite guitar player for just guitar music. And then Nick Johnston is really great. A lot of the newer guys like that, kind of proggy, but it's still rocking. And the production on those records is always, really, really, really great. So, yeah.
Awesome. That is awesome.
Cool.
Right on.
Yeah. Mike Dawes and Tommy Emmanuel. Yeah, those guys are great too. Yeah. I mean, like, you could, man, I say this on my streams, like, we could name off thousands of great guitar players. I mean,
now are you into like acoustic stuff like the Michael Hedges or anything like that, or like Leo Kottke, Richard Thompson, those guys?
I dabble a little bit into that stuff, but I like, if I'm gonna choose, I'm usually more than likely would choose the jazz fusion guitar players because it's closer to what I do. But I still enjoy listening to those acoustic players.
That's awesome.
Right on.
Oh goodness.
You got that Schecter plugged in, brother?
Yeah, I don't know how the audio is going to. I don't know how it's going to sound. It might.
It sounded damn good in the green room.
It might.
Put it underwater after 8 seconds.
That's what it might. I have a feeling that's what it would sound.
The only way you can do it, I think, Tony, is mute everyone except him, and you need to uncheck that one switch in there that normally.
Let's see how it sounds. It sounded good backstage.
Right, but it does something different with the compression or something when it goes live.
Yeah, it might compress. It's not the end of the world if I can't play, because
you guys. When he plays, mute your mic if you have to.
I'll
just say that, because I would have to go. I can do that, but I have to do y'all's individually. So yeah.
It's just gonna be out of tune, man. Just see, that's probably already clipping.
No.
It's
No,
not.
it sounded good.
Yeah.
Hey, that was not bad at all, man. I enjoyed the hell out of that.
I mean, it's doing what it normally does, like it's bass heavy and it's cutting the highs, but it didn't do the underwater thing at all.
No, it did not.
Heavy?
Yeah.
I
A little bit.
I can easily cut bass out of this. Right.
But I mean, it's weird because it probably sounds nothing like that on your end. Like on your end, it probably sounds bright, you know?
What about this? Yeah, it sounds bad on my end.
Fuck yes.
Whatever you did, though, it sounds
I know.
great. Dude,
sounds
it sounds
yes.
great.
It was awesome, man.
It sounds like a cranked plexi is what it sounds
Yeah,
like. man.
I took the resonance. I just threw the resonance down. It's just all it is the fractal. It is a plexi.
I was going to say,
Smart.
that's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, Josh, that's flipping
That's
out.
my favorite amp of all
Yeah.
time. I know plexis.
I thought that too. If you go down just a hair on
If it
the
goes down,
on the
hold on.
volume. Right, yeah. A little more. There you go. Maybe a little more, Josh.
Hey, Charles,
Yes.
we should have the conversation about does Josh care about if it's like an Axe-Specs or a tube amp, and is that a generational thing or is that a
I mean,
personal preference thing? I'm curious.
that's like half volume
Good
of
question.
what it was.
I'd go a little louder, Josh.
A little louder.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Keep going.
Yeah.
I hear
Yes.
like Jack
Smoke it.
Wild or
Yes.
some like Nuno or something too. One
Yes.
of those guys. You listen to either of those
Bottom of a
guys?
sitch.
Damn.
Yeah. I don't listen to a lot of Nuno, but Rick has like a lick that I really like. It's just like it's not symmetrical, but it's just goes right down every string, and it's just 3 notes, and it's like you know, and then he'll do like he does arpeggios after that, just chromatic, just down like. But some of that symmetrical
Wow.
stuff is pretty
Damn,
cool.
yes.
Yeah.
That is outstanding.
Man, you getting us all fired up, brother.
Yeah, I like a lot of stuff like that, and like a lot of like a lot of pentatonic stuff, as you can tell. A lot of like hybrid picking, but it's usually the same lick, and I just move it around. I mean, that's what I try to teach people is like, there's so much you can do whenever you learn one lick. And you can just do so much with one lick if you're just creative enough with it. And you know, I mean, I was with this, you know, whenever I was like 20, this guitar player that was in our band, he was a guitar teacher as well, and like he was like playing something in front of me one time when I was just at his house, and he was just fucking drinking and just jamming and just talking to me about Van Halen and whatnot. And he played this riff, and at the time I hadn't been introduced to hybrid picking yet. And I was just like, what's that? And he's like, that's just some stupid blues, man. You don't need to know. Because like he realized that he had done it in front of me, and he didn't mean to do it in front of me. And I immediately, I was like, I got to know what you're doing right there. And I think he was an A. I was like, so he was just going. And I was like, man, how are you doing that? Because I couldn't do that because he was using his finger to pick a note, and I hadn't seen that before until I watched him do it. And then I was like, and now I see it all the time with all those fusion guys. But that really opened up a lot of doors, because there's so many different things you can do whenever you start, using hybrid picking versus just alternate picking. Or even economy picking, but that's usually how I play is economy. I'm not very good at alternate picking. I cannot play that. What is that Yngwie lick where he just like goes up the neck? So he just like I can't do that quick. I mean, I can do like maybe like a, but I can't like go up, with alternate picking because it's something I never worked on. And most people, their picks face like this way, like they slant this way, and then I pick like that.
Whose style you kind of imitate a little bit?
Marty.
And I don't know. I kind of thought this.
Probably, are you gonna say Marty?
Marty Friedman.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've never really even watched Marty. I've never really listened to Megadeth that much either, but. That just happened. I used to hold my pick like this for my first 6 months. I was going like this.
Oh wow!
And somehow I was still able to play. And then there was like a video. I think the dude's name was Justin Guitar, and I was trying to figure out how to do pinch harmonics. And I was like, man, I can't do these for the life of me. And I watched his video, and he's like, yeah, you got to hold the pick like this, and you got to have your thumb right here. And then I was like, oh, that's how you hold a pick. I was like, okay.
Oh,
wow. that was it. But I mean, right? That was just me not paying attention to those lesson videos and just doing my own thing. But yeah, whenever I watch videos of myself playing, I'm like, man, that looks fucking weird. Like,
Josh,
it doesn't feel like that.
I'm sitting here listening to you talk about how you could figure out how to hold a flipping guitar pick, and I can't wrap my head around that, bro. That's outstanding, man. That is outstanding.
Josh, the one question I want to ask you is, how was the development or how good of a natural ear do you have? Because there's a difference kind of, I think, in the way some people play stuff if they have a really good ear. And I'm curious, like if you get like I had a friend in high school that was a great guitar player, but it would take him a long time to learn stuff. And that's how I was. It took me a long time to learn stuff, but I could play it okay. I had a buddy that, like, when Sex and Religion Vi album came out, he learned it in one night, and the next night at his gig, he played 2 songs off the album, and he played the solos, the Vi solos, note for note. And I was asking him once because I was pissed off. I'm like, that's not fair. And he goes, but you don't understand. That's not difficult for me. I just have a very good ear and very quick muscle memory, you know. But I'm curious because people seem to be all over the spectrum on that, you know.
It's always controversial to, answer a question like that honestly. But I mean, I definitely feel like anybody can pick something like guitar up, but I always relate it to basketball. I was a senior at the time, and we had a football coach as a history teacher, and everyone was on their phones, and I just remember, like, he just started kind of going off, and he was talking about he's talking about life in general, and he's like, man, guys, you know, certain things are going to be impossible in your life. He's like, don't let people tell you nothing is impossible, because there are things that are impossible. He's like, if you're 5'2", you're never going to be able to dunk on a full-size NBA court. And he's like, so that your physical limitations will halt you from being able to do something like that. But he's like, you can still get other things done in that same area. And that kind of stuck with me a little bit. I definitely think that there are some people, like, I mean, take that Max kid, for example. There's just some people that can learn extremely fast. I you know, when I was 18, I wasn't as good as Max. And, you know, it's like whenever I listen to other people, it's like, you know, listening to, you know, Van Halen, for example, if practice was the only thing that you needed to make yourself like up at this level, then we would have hundreds of guys that could sound exactly like Van Halen, and we only have one, and it's Eddie. Yeah. So, you know, I use that as an example, but it doesn't mean that you can't be good at guitar or, you know, work hard to get to where you want to. You can still practice, but I do think that some people have an innate sense of timing. And, you know, I think some people's ears are a little bit more developed at an earlier age, but I don't think that should halt somebody else from learning or from trying to pick up an instrument.
Yeah. Well, for you, Josh, to be self-taught, but to have all this information at your learning disposal, we didn't have that at your age.
That's right.
Yeah, you guys didn't have YouTube.
Yeah.
I get to cheat. I get to watch people play songs. I don't even have to listen to them anymore. I get to watch it.
Right.
It's that easy for me now. It's still, I mean, like with the Van Halen stuff, you know, I mean, I had this conversation on my channel once. I mentioned, I said it's harder to learn Van Halen songs than it is to learn Yngwie. And, you know, like half of my chat agreed and half disagreed. And I'm like, man, I can learn an Yngwie song in like 2 hours. And it's just not, you just have to be able to know the scales and to be able to play like that. Like, if once you have the technique down, you know, that's all you really need. And you just memorize everything. With Van Halen, it's the main thing about Eddie's playing besides the rhythm is the nuance. And his playing is so nuanced that whenever, like, I mean, dude, even learning the simplest song, like Ain't Talking About Love, to play that properly, it's going to take more than a few days to learn like how it dialed in the flanger and then the delay and then to get the sound right. And then and then you got to watch all the live versions and figure out what he's throwing in there. I mean, it's not, you know, I definitely think that in the rock world, Van Halen's music is the hardest music to be able to play and to be able to learn. It's just so nuanced.
I like that you picked Ain't Talk About Love, because
gotta have a big stretch on that one.
To me, even though Women and Children First is my favorite Van Halen album, that to me is the best Van Halen tone. That first 2 bars of Ain't Talking About Love.
I love that sound.
You can throw everything else away. That's the best tone in my head. In my humble opinion, that's the best tone. Anything else I don't need. I mean, I'm good with that for the rest of my life.
Me too, Tommy. Me too.
Yeah,
it's the first one when the flanger hits the cycle the first time is different than the second, and obviously it was random in the studio. But the way it hits the first time, I always call that the lion growl, because when he hits that note, there's this second order harmonic that just goes wow, and it's because of, you know, the effect on it, but it's more because he hits the note, you know, in combination with the effect.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, concerning tone, just tone in general, I remember reading that Nuno Betancourt story a long time ago. You know, everyone knows it when he plays on Eddie's amp, and the Ted Nugent story and all that. And I always thought that was just BS. And then whenever I got my hands on a Fractal, and like within a few hours, I was able to get a pretty convincing Van Halen sound. It was fun for like an hour, and then I realized, I was like, man, it just sounds like Josh Jones playing through Eddie's amp. That's what it sounds like. It just sounds like me. And I was a little bit disappointed, because I was like, man, I thought I was going to be able to sound like that. And that's whenever I realized that those guys were telling the truth. You know, I mean, like you can play through any amp, and you know, if you're like Eddie, then it's gonna sound like Eddie no matter what he's playing through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even through a clean Fender with Steve Rosen, right?
Let me ask you this, Josh. So I guess I'll speak for John and myself. I love that tone, that 81, 82. But what do you think about the 95? Well, the balance, that tone.
If I ranked the Hagar albums in tone, balance would balance would be at the bottom.
Really?
Balance would be at the bottom. Yeah. Fuck would be second place. If 5150 would be first place.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But I mean, but it's still good. It's still better than any sound I can get out of this thing.
Just not your cup of tea.
Yeah. You know, I mean, as I think that's what's interesting about Ed is that everybody has a different favorite album sound. My favorite album sound changes like every 6 months, but I like the demos. The Templeman demos is my favorite sound.
Right on.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They're really clean, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah.
They are very
I was
clean.
listening to them 2 days ago.
They are extremely clean. Yes. Yeah.
I love that's my favorite sound is that like
and they never get old.
Never.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
literally where he could have been playing like an old Fender Pro, but taken out and gone into 412 greenbacks. I have an old blackface Fender, but if I run it into my 70s Marshall 412, I'm telling you, it sounds like a Plexi if they're both on 10.
Yeah, it's like with the first, like if I had to pick one song out of all the Van Halen songs that exist to the public, just for guitar tone, I would pick "You're No Good."
Interesting.
Yeah.
That would be that would be my favorite sound. But I mean, the first record to me sounds really great. It's just once if I'm in the car, like if I try to crank it, it gets a little high endy, and the second record doesn't have that high endiness that kind of hurts my ears a little bit. The second record I can just crank it and it'll feel really good.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what let's do. I don't need any more tea.
Somebody give me a doctor, Tony.
Let's shift gears. Let's do this like that. And let's do this. We got new sound effects for trivia here on
I see Simon's in here too, and I remember watching Simon's video. I think Simon's from Australia.
Yes, he is.
He used the I'll never forget, he used the Kemper, and like it just even I was like, fuck man, that sounds just like the first record sound. Yeah, he's got
they nailed it, didn't they? They nailed it.
Awesome. Yeah.
Once it hits that dive, I was like, holy shit, that sounds like the record.
Guys, we're going to get into trivia. I'm going to give somebody tonight a fair warning pass, a purple one.
Nice.
I thought you were going to give me a fair warning. I was in trouble.
As long as you can pass, Tommy.
So I'm going to give somebody that. But I got a trivia question, a Van Halen trivia for tonight. We're giving that away. If you win this, which none of the guys got backstage, There's an email address down below. Trivia winners email me your address, and I'll mail you that Van Halen Fair Warning pass out tomorrow morning.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, I try to make these as hard as I can because you guys are so good that, yeah. All right. So I tried to change it up for tonight. So, all right. So Van Halen trivia for July 13th, 2022. All right. Here we go. Are we ready? Let's do this. All right. So, I'm going to show you this on the screen. Don't type anything in the chat. These are Van Halen lyrics. I need you to type the next line. What's the next line to this song? I don't care what the name of the song is. What's the next line? All right.
That was weird. My power cut out for a second.
And if you don't know,
That's a really good question, Tony.
that is. We'll show it once again.
If anyone has the
These are Van Halen lyrics. Pay attention, watch your back, pay your dues, stay on track. What's the following line in this song? What's the next line? I need the next line.
do your homework, don't smoke crack.
No hints to the kids, Tommy.
Sorry, I've been watching the Bobby Brown TV show, and he's like, I used to be a crack addict. I like his honesty. He seems like
hey
a very,
man, I think
person.
We got a winner.
All right, damn New Jersey.
He did.
Got no room to second guess.
He did.
Dan, New Jersey. Hey, Dan, did you get your shirt, brother? Just type yes so I can stop worrying about it.
Dan of New Jersey. Let's go to the hang on, let's go to the win column.
There we go.
Got no room to second guess. Pay attention, watch your back, pay your dues, stay on track. Got no room to second guess. That's the second verse from the final track, Feeling Off the Balance album. Dan knew it.
Letterman show.
Nice, Dan.
Dan did it. Dudes, speaking of Dan, I'm going to unbox something. But I think there's two things in here. And this is from Charles. But I'm going to save one for another day. But I'm going to unbox one now.
Good to hear, Dan. You rock, brother.
So let's see if I can get into this. All right. So I think I know what I'm looking for here. Yeah, so I'll only take one out and I'll save the other. Didn't look at it for another day. All right.
Very cool.
So check this out. All right. So this is a gift from Charles Green.
Actually, Tony.
And
there you go, brother.
Holly Lewis.
Yes.
Who
we love you, Holly.
This was Holly Lewis's creation and her idea and her design and her shirt. She sent us one, and we certainly appreciate it. And I'm gonna show you this. You guys are gonna dig it. Dig it.
Nice.
Thank you, Holly.
Yes,
Very
thank you,
cool.
Holly.
Very, very cool.
It's awesome.
It means a lot. Thank
Charles, we have to hear it in your voice.
And you will.
you. And you will.
Right on, dude. Nice. So I didn't realize this before. Honestly, I did not, but the writing is in blue. I thought it was all in blue. I didn't realize that your name is in green.
Yeah.
If you can
That's
see
because
that.
she's artsy, crafty, and awesome.
Nice. How cool is that, dude?
Isn't that awesome? We love you, Holly. Thank you so very much.
It's awesome.
Right on. All right. Bye-bye.
Very cool.
Yes, very nice. Man, I want to wear that to work tomorrow, baby.
Rock that shirt, man.
Yeah. Thank you, Holly and Charles. Bam. So Dan of New Jersey is our big winner for tonight.
That is awesome, Dan.
Yeah. And there's Leo. Nice to see you. All right. My goodness.
It's good to see you, Leo. Hold on, brother.
What's up, Leo?
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. All right. Right on. What's upcoming, Josh? What's next on the horizon?
Finally getting some actual songs made.
Mhm.
You know, no longer just guitar and bass. I'm learning how to do a lot of it on my own. I can't go crazy into detail what's going on right now, but hopefully, you know, I mean, hopefully by the end of the year, I will have an album ready.
Oh, that would
But
be
you know,
awesome.
release wise, I mean, I'd like to be able to get a band together, and so it might take a little longer. You know, because getting a band together is pretty difficult in this day and age. But
Mhm.
it's cool that we have social media and we can all network with each other, and it makes it a little easier to find the right people. You know, I believe that's how Jacob did
It
it
is.
with
It
his
is.
guys.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure him and Josh started doing covers with each other to start, and then they just started writing.
Yeah. You're at the point, Josh, and I hate to use the baseball analogy, but you're the guy at AAA that could get a call at 9 o'clock at night and say, be at the airport at midnight tonight. You know, you could get that call anytime.
I'm kind of surprised that, and maybe this might be in the form of a question, but have you been approached by any what we would call mainstream bands to jump in and fill some shoes? Because if you
Yeah.
haven't, I'd be amazed. I'm expecting you to say at least a couple of bands have contacted you to fill their shoes.
I've had a few, but they've all fallen through. What's that sound? Is that me? That might be me. I've had a few opportunities, but every one of them has fallen through.
I'm sorry to hear that.
But well, I mean, I think it's mainly just because I feel like to get like hired gun status, and it's like I feel like the hardest like one to get is your first one, because there's so many people that are available, and at the end of the day, it's like most of these acts that I feel like about half of them that have hit me up, I'm kind of overkill for what they're looking for, and they don't know if I'm, and I don't blame them for this, but they don't know how I am on a tour yet, because I've never been on one. So I don't really have a track record or a resume for that. And I think usually with hired guns that get hired for all these bands, I feel like most of the time it's people who have already done it once or twice, or, however many times, because, like these bands, it's their livelihood. It's a business, and it's a big risk taking somebody like me on. They don't know if I'm going to go be an alcoholic on the bus or something like that, or just be a dick or whatever, and they're gonna go with the other guy that's been on tours before, and they know that he's reliable. I definitely think that after the first one finally breaks through, that it'll get a little easier, hopefully, or for me to be able to land some bigger gigs like that. But I think that's why that hasn't happened yet, is just because other people with track records that are already there have been chosen. And
as a fan of your music, and as a fan of your ability, I'm kind of on the fence with it, because, to be perfectly honest, I would rather hear an album from you and your band. There's a part of me that's, I guess what I'm trying to say is, it'd be bittersweet either way. It'd be great either way, but I'm really anxious to hear what you put out and what you're going to do.
I agree, Charles, definitely.
Yeah, I definitely, like,
because I know you can play Van Halen. I know you could.
Yeah.
You were all kinds of hair metal bands. Any hair metal band out there, you could fill some shoes. You're totally qualified.
Yeah,
just because you're qualified doesn't mean you're going to get to show us your unique quality that is Joshua Jones. So,
It would be the same thing as being in a cover. It'd be the same thing as what I'm doing right now. I'd be playing somebody else's song, but it would be, I'm not opposed to doing it for, like 6 months, 8 months or whatever. But I definitely think, in my opinion right now in my life, I feel like at 26 years old, I feel like the next like 4 to 6 years is the most crucial time for me to write music.
Don't get over anxious. You're really young, brother. Don't get over anxious.
Yeah.
If it comes out, write it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I wouldn't have an issue going on a tour, but I definitely want to focus on my own music. I've already got most of one song done with a good friend, and it's pretty cool. And hopefully this is stuff that people can hear sometime soon. But because everyone's asked me, they're like, hey man, we know you can play Van Halen all day, but can you write? And I'm like, yeah, I write, but I want to have the right team to put the product out and show people this is what I do, versus just doing it all myself. I'd like to be able to have a band. Same thing for D-Raps. Like he's got a band and he's ready to go tour now, and I believe he's going to sometime next year. So I totally agree with John and Charles. I really do believe that at least right now, I think that I need to focus on writing more than anything. But I feel like if something comes up, I wouldn't decline it, just because I feel like it would be good to get my feet wet and, at least, whether it's even like 10, 12 shows with some random band, I feel like that would still give me some good experience.
It'd be awesome for you.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome for you.
Absolutely.
I'm amazed you haven't been scooped up yet. It's really pretty amazing.
$10,000 a week is not bad either. I mean, because when you get a call for one of those, there's a premium they pay because you're gonna have to learn like 27 songs in like 5 days. But they've got the budget for it. That's the upside. You know what I mean? And you would slide into one of those gigs like no problem. But like you said, if you do one of those gigs, I think they'd be like, all right, you know what? He's reliable, he's trustworthy, he doesn't have a drug problem, which
Right.
I know sometimes people think you're, being ridiculous, but hey, it's a real life thing that happens, and
It's true.
when someone
That's
becomes
true.
a liability, suddenly it doesn't matter how good of a musician they are,
Well, yeah, it's a job, I mean, it's a dream job, but it's still a job at the end of the day, and you still have to do your job right. You got to work hard and, stay sober and eat right. It doesn't mean you can't have fun from time to time, but it definitely you become a liability, yeah, because you're stepping into somebody else's business. I mean, a band is a business, and if you're stepping into somebody else's business, you need to respect that. So
yeah. Well, I mean, everyone should go watch Korn's sound guy put out a video recently. He does a lot of stuff on his channel, but he'll show you an 18-hour day, like 10 days in a row. And he's their head audio guy. I mean, he's making real good money, but he's still schlepping gear. He goes, I don't care what level you're at. You're going to schlep gear because there's just too many jobs to do. He still sets up his own mic, and he goes, I don't trust anyone else. Because if they get the mic settings wrong on the drums, I'm going to get fired. It's a job. Like,
right,
this is not kids play. This is like, we're in the pros now,
Yeah. It's a lot of smoke and mirrors too, man. I mean, everybody, like people that are my age who are in the same position that I am, that are looking just to be able to break through somehow, sometime. A lot of guys that are my age or younger than me, they think that they need to drink all the time or smoke or do whatever and try to be like their heroes. And man, most of the guys that I've met that, out of all the bands that I've seen and the guys that I've talked to that are in those bands, a lot of those guys have been sober for like 20 or 30 years. There's no drinking going on backstage. It's just, like they get done with the show, they talk to people, and then they get on the bus and go. It's not like it was in the 80s. It's just not like that anymore.
Eat healthy, work out. Like, you don't want to get sick on the road,
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Yeah. No, you gotta. It's a round the clock job. You love it, but there's not a moment of your day and night unaccounted for.
Hey, Josh, I saw the top of a horn of a guitar in your lap. Is that a Frankie that you're holding by any chance?
Mm-hmm.
Could we see it?
Right on.
Beautiful, beautiful. It's an EVH. That's nice.
Yep. I got the strap for it too. This thing. The eyelets aren't the right size, but it doesn't bug me because it still fits. So
cool. That's awesome.
Nice.
The eyelets are a little bit smaller.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what the size of these are. They're a little small, but it still works. So, and this one has the neck pickup. The neck pickup's kind of hot.
Mm-hmm.
But like the way that I wired it was, I know some people like put that, they put that like kill switch in there, like right here, like on the, like you can like push up or down or something like that, I think. But
it's a push, isn't it?
It's a push, I think is what it is.
No.
I think the push is also what some people do to engage this pickup because they don't want to throw this on here.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not used to doing this for a kill switch. And,
sure.
And I mean, I say I'm not picky, but I am picky with the looks of guitars, and I don't like the way kill switches look on a guitar.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a personal opinion. It's just a taste.
Okay.
I would rather have this knob right here and be able to be able to hit this. And
it's so old school. That's old school, brother, right there.
That's how the Schecters are. So, it's also just kind of muscle memory for me to do that. But yeah, I just had our bass player wire it in like that. I mean, this is the bridge right here. And then, one down again. So the middle is this pickup, and then that's nothing. So it cuts it off. So I can,
Joshua, I'm going to be honest with you guys here. I think only on one other occasion have I ever heard a neck pickup on a Frankie played. It's not common. I have a Frankie and my neck pickup is just there for looks.
Well, but
Joshua,
they make them optional. It's wireable. that
Yeah,
neck
we
pickup
could
is.
like either
Yeah.
one of ours, Tony. We could wire it up and do it. But
Right.
the
But
thought
the
never even really occurred to
EVH,
me
the
to do it.
EVH is wired, but it's not engaged.
I got you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
I got you.
yeah, I mean, it is pretty hot. Like the bridge, everyone knows. And then so, I mean, that's a different setting because with the plexi setting,
Mhm.
this thing is just way too hot. So I
Wow.
usually have to throw on a Daniel to get it to sound good because
Wow.
this pickup just runs so hot, man.
That's a tone that I've never heard really ever before.
Oh, the neck. I don't know. I'm assuming it's probably just a standard. I'm just assuming here. I would assume it's just a standard Fender single coil pickup for the neck.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know if you guys are.
It's too hot to be a standard though, to my ear.
It gets pretty hot.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, on the normal setting that I would use. Just for an example, I usually don't use this setting with the EVH just because it is really hot.
Mhm.
Hey, Randy.
But so it's pretty bitey. It's a little too. I mean, I like treble, but even that's pretty bitey for me.
Freaking outstanding, Joshua.
Josh, you're melting the screen.
You're melting the screen, bro. Flames coming off that guitar. Good Lord.
Nice.
Good
Now,
Lord.
where does that? I know you haven't had it long. Are you going to use that? Is that going to be a number 2? At least
To
a
be
number
honest,
3.
I don't like how it doesn't have 24 frets. But I mean, I was gonna get the Nick Johnston Schecter, but it didn't have 24 frets, so I didn't end up getting it because I really like to have that extension there. Once again, it's one of those things like live, it doesn't really matter because I'm not thinking about that access anymore when I play live. So like this feels really good live. This is probably one of the easier guitars that I have to play live, but as far as like using it like on stage, like I mean, like if you know, like let's just like pretend that I'm in a band in a year and a half from now. That's mine. The only time I would bring this out is if I would pay a tribute to Eddie. No, it would mainly just hang out in the bedroom. It does sound really good on recordings, though. I think this is Wolfgang pickup. You guys would know what it's just stock. It's whatever comes in the EVH Frankie. It is a good sounding pickup. So I've used it on a few recordings already.
Excellent.
Nice.
Excellent.
There you go.
My goodness.
My
goodness.
I'm gonna show them something, Tom. What were you gonna say, bro?
No, I was just gonna say it's funny. I have a replica Les Paul. It's a replica of a '50s Les Paul that was, made by one guy the right way and all this stuff. But when I bought it, because I had I'll tell you the whole story later. But it was an interesting way I acquired this guitar. But anyway, the pickups in it are double creams, but they have that way that like the '70s and '80s cream color. It's a little bit different looking. And so I took them out because I was putting different pickups in, and they're hand signed by Seymour Duncan. And come to find out, they're like original, custom shop 78s. And those are very, very close to when they were doing the EVH Frankenstein when the $25,000 one came out. And for a while they sold, pickups. You could get one actually signed by Eddie, or you could get one that was the identical pickup, but he didn't sign it, So I have one of those pickups in my, Frankie that I built myself. And if I put that through my 71 metal panel plexi, it's almost too much gain. But then again, my 71 Marshall, contrary to what most people would think, probably has more gain than a JCM 800. They varied so much, and it could have just been that a couple values of some resistors changed that dramatically. But mine is so bright and so gainy, and it's an early 71. But I can't put everything on 10. I put everything on 10, but the volume has to be only on 7 or 8. Otherwise, it doesn't sound like Van Halen. It sounds like you have more gain than that,
That's crazy. Yeah, I think that is close.
And it's bone stock.
It's bone. Yeah, see that's like if I got my hands on a plexi, I've got a friend. His name's Cameron Brown, and he uses a plexi every now and then. He like his dad has a plexi. He mainly uses Friedman's, but I remember him sending me an audio one time of his dad's plexi, and he was just recording, just randomly recording something. He's like, "Yeah, man, this is just stock," and it sounded like Eddie. And I was like, "Yep." I was like, "So it's pretty much stock. It's just if you got to get the luck of the draw with the right plexi amp."
We got to get the right person too. Either that or the person who knows what they're doing, because what all these guys know, and Charles and Tony and John, they all definitely know more than me about it. But those amps, even Eddie's amp, was reworked by so many people where they said we only made minor changes. But look at when it went from who was the Dutch guy that ripped it out, put Teflon wire in, and then he was making amps that Joe Bonamos was using for a while. I forget his name, but anyway. And then they literally used a donor. Dave Friedman told the story because he did the work. They used a donor plexi just to rip all the wiring out and what they needed to get his back to what it should have been. But, there's a couple small tricks like the one, change in pot value. That's a big difference, and clipping the bright cap. But, that's not stuff that like adds gain. But my head, I measured it when I took it to my tech because I didn't want to blow it up and work on it myself like I do with the cheaper amps I have. And he said it was over 510 volts, like the plate voltage. But when you're getting up like that loud too, you're working the power tubes too, so maybe that's why it just feels and sounds gainier. But then I run it through like a Fryette power station, so you can even have it bedroom quiet, but then you're burning tubes.
Yeah,
That's right.
Those tubes burn pretty quick. Do you have the 6 CA7s in there, or are you just using EL34s?
6 CA7s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as like modern amps, I guess you could call them remakes or clones. From videos, the closest I've heard that you can just go buy like that would be the Sirs.
The SL68 is real close. I still think the Metropolis is closer. That's the one I bought.
See, I've never heard a Metropolis. That whenever we went to go pick up a cab for our other guitar player a few months back, the dude had a Metropolis head, but I didn't ask to play it.
There's a guy that's selling. See, now I'm very DIY. You might not want all this hassle, but if you're looking for like a plexi-ish thing, there's a guy at least that last week at least was selling on Reverb. It's a Metropolis chassis when he would even just sell you a chassis, but then you'd have to just go get a head case from Mojitone or someone for it. But I think the guy only wanted like $1,800, and it's all hand wired by George when he was doing it basically out of his garage like early on. But yeah, I have one of his heads, and if it wasn't that I just love the way my old Marshall looks and everything, it can get real damn close. Like he has real like 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 2, 3. He doesn't do the 74s on up. He only does the hand wires. So up to like 73 or whatever. He has all the originals. He's got like the $10,000 JTM 45 head, you know, or the offset $20,000 coffin logo Marshall head. And he tests those against them in real time while he's, you know, designing his amps and making the tweaks, you know. But he makes them so they can run on modern tubes. So you're not tube chasing with like NOS tubes, you know. You should check one out, really, yeah.
There you go.
So,
All right, so let's turn the corner. All right, now, all right. Keep in mind, we're in the middle of the month, and all this month of July, we're running a contest here. Send us your Van Halen guitar pictures, and we're gonna choose one as the winner for a 56-inch EVH leather guitar strap, and this goes to the 27th, which is a couple of more weeks. We've gotten a bunch in already.
They're awesome.
Yep, I'm gonna
They're
repost
Everyone.
this on Facebook again, but again, you'll send the pictures to the Show Me Your Pick fan page link down below, okay? And on the 27th, we'll pick one as our winner, and we'll show the rest. Some very cool pictures so far. But be creative and entertaining, you know.
Very cool.
But yeah, once again, for a 56-inch strap, and they make two sizes. That's the bigger of the two, you know. So yeah, send us the photos of your Van Halen style guitars of all sorts, stripes or no stripes. Impress us. So yeah. And also, so coming up this Saturday, the 16th, July the 16th, Saturday, on Show Me Your Pick at 9 o'clock, we're going to be talking about Velvet Revolver.
Yes, we are.
And we got a very special guest with us. Yeah. So
I've been looking forward to this one. This one,
Ty Price,
is going to be extra special. Yes, it is.
Is going to return. It'll be so good to see Ty Saturday. Velvet Revolver. Join us 9 p.m. Eastern right here on the channel. And we're going to play some 10-shot rock and roll trivia for a Slash Velvet Revolver pick.
Yes, we are.
If you beat me, though, you got to beat me. Yeah. But congratulations to tonight's trivia winner, Dan in New Jersey.
You rock, Dan.
Man, I thought I had all of you. But yes, Dan, I will mail you this out in the morning, sir. Thanks for being here. Thanks to everybody for being here. And again, earlier, thanks to Blair Fischer. How cool was that?
Awesome story. My goodness, man.
So cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you, Blair. Very cool.
Yeah. John. Cool. What do you think about that, dude?
Right there.
Yeah, man. You're muted.
There he's a good dude. Blair's a good dude.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun. Yeah. Yeah. So he's talking about a book too, right?
Nice.
I didn't know that. Yeah. Right
Yeah.
on. So we'll see
You know, the
about
best thing
that.
about the book is it's an extension of his story. And
Well,
so he's already got us with the story, and it's a precursor to the whole story. And I
and we got a little information out of him tonight. He said that Ed was mentioned about writing a book himself, and him and Alex.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Wow.
and then
My,
Alex will probably do
my
that in the future.
my question I didn't want to direct to him, but I direct to you guys is: do you think had Eddie not remained sick and actually, did one of these and got better, that him and Valerie would have got back together?
No. No.
Have you
I,
have you
I
read her new book?
Yeah, I have, and
I've
I think it would.
dabbled in some excerpts.
I think they would have
I think they
100%.
would.
I,
Yeah.
I
What
don't
you guys
think they
thought?
would have.
I don't know.
I just think that I mean,
I don't know.
No,
I
if you read the book and read between the
Tony,
lines,
you know what she said about her divorce and why she just got
I
divorced
I
recently, right?
know. I haven't read the whole book. I've read a lot of it. You know, um, most of it, enough of it.
in the
But
George
my
Lopez's car.
A lot of
my
it.
my opinion, I think, is based on that me and my ex are very close, and we have grown kids, and
Right.
I look at things from that angle. Is why I say I don't think they would have. I think
I
that they
get
were
that.
fine. That
Yeah.
the what you saw, I think that they were okay with that.
Yeah.
They were all close.
I get that. That's
Doesn't
how it
have
is.
to
I mean,
be like that.
yeah. Like my ex and her
Love is love.
fiance will go out to dinner with me and our kids, and we have, we're
Right.
all fine together,
Right. Of course. That's what I mean. Yeah.
So I
You know,
I get I get
they're
that.
always going to have a special relationship simply because they had Wolf, and
Well,
that's
that's what it
you
is
know,
for us. We have two kids together. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and it's a
Right.
big deal. You know, it
Oh,
really is.
100%. It's
Yeah, that was, man, that was fun.
someone
And
describes her Charles
yeah, that was a little last minute, um him coming on. Thanks to this guy right
Thank you,
here,
John.
John,
Good
You're
job,
rock,
John.
brother.
my
Thank you
brother.
so much,
Look
man.
at him. Yeah, dude.
Pulling the strings behind the scenes.
That's right.
Home, John. You rock.
As if
Bro.
your life's not busy enough, right, John?
Yeah, right.
What we do for Van Halen, we love.
Speaking of surprise guests, I'm gonna be quiet. When we give the guitar strap away, we're gonna have a special guest, surprise guest.
Nice.
All right.
Surprise, mother.
Now,
I believe it's also that special person's birthday on that day, isn't it?
Oh,
It
yeah.
might be.
That's what I heard.
Charles, you going to play it unplugged for him?
This is why they win trivia so much, because you guys give too many hints.
No more hints from me.
We love watching you give your merch away, Tony. I'm sorry.
I know. But we're going to have a special guest that you'll find out before the show on the 27th when we give that away and show you all these awesome Van Halen pictures. Yeah, you'll enjoy that.
Yeah.
I know I have so far.
Is there
And-
Tony on the side up at the barricade? Tony, does Joshua know the story of you up against the barricade where a one Edward Van Halen is sliding on his knees across the stage and a young fruitcake Tony is sitting there in the audience and is visible in the picture having the time of his frickin' life?
I don't think I have that in here, dude. I'll have wait a second. I might. Hang on.
Tony has been to like.
Have
You
I
know how
got
they
it?
say like
You
he
got it.
has like.
Oh, I
they say,
got
like,
it, dude. I got it.
It's in there.
Yeah.
He's got all the cars or all the guitars. Tony's
Look at
been to
that.
all the Van Halen concerts.
There he is, guys.
See the arrow?
Yeah.
There he is. A young fruitcake Tony.
How old were you in that photo, Tony?
16,
Very
15,
cool.
16.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, remind me, Tony, did you miss 78? Your first was 79, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine Josh getting tickets to go see the tour for Van Halen 2. Like,
You're
it's
rubbing
crazy.
it in on him.
No, I mean, it rubs it in on me too.
Yeah, man, you're rubbing it
I
in.
was still too young to go as well.
I just watched the the Fresno,
Yeah.
the
Man.
media restoration stuff. That stuff's really cool.
Oh, that's so
It
good.
is. It's very cool.
Yes, absolutely.
Whose
Absolutely.
photo is that?
Whose photo?
The one of Eddie.
Where?
The one where he's on his
sliding?
knees.
Was
Yeah.
that a Zlozauer or no?
I think it's from the side of the stage. Okay.
I've never seen that picture.
This picture is July 16th, 82 in Greensboro. Okay.
Special at Les Paul too.
And when this came up, and me looking, of course I'm right at Eddie's mic, but the guys in the yellow shirts, the guy right near me worked a lot of shows, and I would see him at a lot of shows, so it's how I ID'd myself real quick there.
Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen that one before. I like that photo.
Tony, is that the show you got the bandana?
No.
No, it's not. I should have known that. I should have known that.
No.
I remember now.
This, however, is the same show.
Wow. Look at that.
Was that one of the ones you shot?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I couldn't even tell you what he's playing right there. I'm trying to guess the song based on his fingers, but
That's a fun game to play.
Yeah. that I can't.
Some people are really good at it. They're like, "Oh, that's this part in this song," It's like,
yeah.
I've seen John do that a couple of times.
I was gonna say,
More
John.
than,
I think
more than a
he's
couple
probably
of
good
times,
at it.
actually,
Yeah.
on shows.
Yeah. Yeah. So before I forget, don't let me forget, Sandra. Thank you. All right. If you want guitar picks made, and we'll have our guitar picks for Show Me Your Pick by this weekend too. Greg at Legend Picks, his links are down below. Okay. And if you want a guitar built, if you want something, you're dreaming something up, you want something your way, Neil Daly, who was in here earlier, he's your guy. His links are down below.
He builds them good, man.
Yes.
He builds them good.
Yes, absolutely, he does. Neil had to leave early. Yeah. So, but yeah.
Hey, Quentin James is in the chat, you guys. Good to see you, Quentin.
What's up, Pops?
And also for those of you that dig cigar box style guitars, check these out.
Custom.
We know a dude. His name's Brendan B. Squared, and he's on here on Wednesday sometimes, but you can see him on Saturday on Show Me Your Pick. But he handcrafts these, and they are lovely.
Totally custom.
If you won, yeah. I do. But his links are down there, and you can check him out. And please check out all the links down below. Read the description. We might hide trivia stuff down there, and we've done that before too. So, yeah, there are some cool links in there. Andrew, Brad, Simon Hosford, the 5150 show. Those links are down there. Go check that out. Yeah. Ben Coombs. His links are down below. Yeah. Go check out Ben. Yeah. Sundays and Mondays with Ben. Andrew does shows on the weekend. He does Van Halen shows like every other week, and they're always awesome. Yeah, so go check out Andrew, Brad, and Haas over there on 5150 show.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome YouTubers, man.
Yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
All righty. I think I'm not missing anything for once, right?
Man, we got to sit here with two awesome individuals this evening, you guys. Joshua,
Yes, sir.
thank you so very much for spending time with us.
Yeah,
My goodness,
dude.
man. My
Josh,
goodness. Unbelievable.
my
Yeah,
brother.
Josh. We look
Josh.
forward to hearing some music for you later this year.
Yes,
Please.
sir.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to releasing some.
Get to work. Get busy. Keep going. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Josh, you are truly one of the most brilliant players I've ever seen. I first laid eyes on you, I guess, at NAMM a couple of years ago.
I think that was on one of these.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly
it was.
right.
Yes,
Playing a
Exactly,
little
it was. But
EE&S
dude,
combo.
here's my prediction. We're all gonna wake up and we're gonna look at our phones and we're gonna say, "Oh shit, Josh is in," and it'll be some huge band that all of us love. And
Switchfoot or something, or yeah.
no,
Kill Switch Engage, man. That would be a good one.
yeah,
Dude.
you will,
Dude.
Josh. Absolutely,
Dude.
dude. Keep going, dude.
You
Keep
know,
going.
you're the next generation, man. You're the new hope. I find it amazing that, you know, I'm going to compare you to Jacob DeRaps again. You guys are 25, 26 years old. You've got chops that some guys spend their entire lives can never even have. You have incredible gifts. Your gift is incredible, Joshua. And we just can't wait to see what you come up with, man. It's just
Absolute.
absolute anticipation of what we know is going to be something that's just excellent.
No pressure, Josh.
Yeah.
There's no pressure,
No
bro.
pressure.
Just do what you do and bring it. Soon. I'm getting old. Please hurry up.
Yeah, dude. No, you're a phone call away.
Yeah,
So,
it's so cool. Very cool.
I can't wait to hear that good news, dude. But you come back here on Wednesday anytime, dude. Yeah, but again, on behalf of all of us, dude, thanks for being here.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you, bro.
You rock,
Thanks for hanging
bro.
out.
Thanks.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were talking to the audience for a minute. I was like, I thought you were going to zoom in on it. You're talking to me. Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, dude. This has
Man.
been
I
fun.
zoned out for a minute. I
I
was
do
thinking
that
about
all the
Lincoln.
time.
That's what I was thinking about. Just that's all. It's just
Right on, dude.
So cool. So cool, man.
All right, kids, we're gonna beat it out of town. Yep, we are. So this has been, gosh, this has been fun.
Hey, chat, we love you guys.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here. Dan in New Jersey, congratulations.
Right there, bro.
Holly Lewis, thank you, ma'am. Love the
Yep.
shirt. I'm sure the whole world is gonna want one. But yeah, so we'll be back here next Wednesday. Now, John, shall we go ahead and share now, or?
Yeah, go for it. Yep.
All right. So kids, next Wednesday here on the program, we're going to have Michael Christopher on. Okay. Now we had Michael on a few months ago, but Michael is releasing his book on audiobook, and so we're going to have him on next Wednesday here. We get to hang out with Michael again. So that's going to be fun. So yeah, that's next Wednesday here on the channel. And the following week, of course, is the end of the contest. Send your photos, all right? And
Keep them coming. Keep them
we
coming.
have a special guest that night. It's a surprise at this point, but we'll reveal later. Yes. But thanks for being here, Josh, dude. You rock, man. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, James. Thank you.
Awesome.
thanks, Josh. Yeah, it's been fun.
Nice. Yeah.
So cool. On behalf of all of us here, Charles Green, John, Neil Daly, Tommy, Sandra, and Brendan, Joshua, thanks for being here, dude.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Everybody, have a great week and a good weekend coming up. Show me your pick Saturday night, Ty Price, right here.
Right here.
Hi.
All right. And any last words there, Charles?
Hey, guys, this is Halenville. And you just got to remember, doesn't matter if you go north, south, east, or west around here, every single road leads straight to Van Halen, you guys. Be well. Do something nice for someone this week for no reason. And rock on. Take care.
Well said.
Peace.